All right, everybody. I am here with the amazing Calvin Thomas. If you want to say hello and do any general introduction, just to, I don't know, introduce yourself, I guess.
Yeah. So, I'm Calvin. And one thing that you'll notice about my channel is that in my bio, I mentioned that I love pizza, calzones, and tacos. And it's like when I have to choose between the three, I get kind of like in a tricky situation. But generally, it's going to be the pizza that I choose. I also play music, so that's something that you could possibly come on over to my channel for. And we've got a really awesome community over there. People are fantastic, and it's just good vibes all around. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I guess in starting talking about things and getting to know you, we'll talk a little bit about your stream and then kind of go from there. But so how long have you been streaming and when did you start? Actually, before we do all of that, congratulations on being partnered. Sorry, I haven't formally said it to you. Can we get some, like, I don't know, celebratory emotes in chat? Because you deserve it so much. I was just talking about how your stream is one of those that I love to just like leave on and listen to because it's so great. I love listening to the process of your music because it builds, like, as you do all of your looping and everything. I think that's one of the things I've always enjoyed, is like watching it come together is so exciting to me and fascinating as someone who doesn't understand music as well as I wish I did.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Aya. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. In addition to having all those bragging rights, because hey, partner, yeah. It's also really cool because it's just showing how far the channel has come from starting from late November 2018 to where it is right now. And it's been a pretty awesome progression. And I've been able to meet some amazing people. I've been able to collaborate with some fantastic streamers, and got a chance to join Mishmash, where I was able to meet Aya and so many other really cool people. So I'm a pretty fortunate dude, and I think this partner badge is kind of a reflection of how fortunate I am, and where the channel is going to go. In terms of how long I've been streaming, I had to actually think about this because I was initially thinking it was 7 years. But I don't think it was that long, really, because I think it's only been about 5, because I started on Periscope.
Okay.
And I think at the same time I was also broadcasting on YouNow.
Okay.
Because I was also trying to see what other platforms were out there. And I think I started Periscope. It was early October 2015. I don't think it was 7 years. I think it might have been like about 5 years. Yeah. So if there's anybody who I said that I was streaming for 7 years for, I apologize. That's my brain being weird. But yeah, I'd say about 5 years. I'd say about 5 years, and I got a chance to use Periscope and YouNow and a number of other live streaming platforms before I ended up here, and all that stuff was just. I learned a lot. It's been crazy fun.
What ended up bringing you to streaming? Like, just even starting overall before you got to Twitch?
Actually, so a couple of things. My cousin got me into live streaming. He saw this. He was on this platform. He was on Periscope for a while.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, man, you should totally get over here. It's completely different from YouTube or Facebook or something, And I noticed that immediately as I jumped onto the platform, because it's kind of like, you take your videos and you're editing all that stuff in real time. Everything's happening in real time, and it's like, this is really different from YouTube. I like this, and I just wanted to jump on that, and also because it was a pretty unique thing. Not a lot of people were doing it at the time. And then also I was working at a music store. I was working into music and arts, and the schedule would go from sometimes it would be from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or just the schedule would change depending on when they would need me. And so I needed to find a way to still do my music stuff, because I'm not going to, stay restrained in a retailer.
Yeah.
I gotta do my music stuff. So I took advantage of that, and I was able to meet some fantastic people, and they kind of motivated me to do a number of other things that would follow. But yeah, it was my cousin, and just the fact that I wanted to still play music even under my work schedule, had to find a way.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, when I didn't know about streaming at all before, I started. So I had no idea that there was like a whole section of like music streamers and that was even a thing. And I mean, it makes so much sense because I feel like it's a cool thing because it's like a live performance as well. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
little not the same because like a live performance, normally you have the energy of a crowd and like that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's a different kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a cool, especially in a pandemic, a cool way to keep doing it and doing your music for people.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is that, like, I think one of 2020's silver linings. I know 2020 had some silver linings. What? How is that even a thing? But one of the silver linings that came from it was that people still wanted to hear their music, and so they were going to do whatever it took to get it, even if that meant trying something new, getting outside their comfort zone, and embracing live streaming, not just as something that takes up space on their computer, but also something that allows them to find new communities and to meet some new people, and then to also find musicians that they never thought they'd ever meet. Like I had somebody come in and into one of my streams one time, and no, actually, yeah, he came into one of my streams, and he actually had seen me perform live. There was a venue that I would play, I guess maybe an hour or so away from where I live, and he saw me on this platform, and he's like, I probably wouldn't have gone on here if it weren't for you, and maybe some other musicians that had gotten onto Twitch and stuff. And so hearing stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, that's another motivator for me to keep moving forward, because I know people definitely want to see the music. They want to hear, they want to be a part of it, because they can't go to live concerts anymore. And I think that's just one of the main reasons why I love live streaming so much, because you can meet anybody at any random time, and like, who knows what happens next.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like also in one of those like in raid trains that happen, you could start somewhere and end up somewhere you would have never expected, just in the process of going from one stream to the next to the next.
Yeah, I think I think the maximum amount of the largest raid chain that I've been on was seven streamers. So it had gone from, I think I started from Emily McVicker and her music channel to, I think it was an art channel. Now I'm a night owl, so I'm like up at like 3-4 a.m.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of channels that could be possibilities. And a lot of them I've noticed are like gaming channels and art channels and things. And so eventually it ends up there. But that raid chain took me like 7 channels to get through in order for me to get to those art channels. So it's insane how those raid chains work. It's kind of like the YouTube recommended, like the autoplay thing.
Yeah. Oh,
like, it starts off where you're like listening to music, right? And then it ends up taking you into like a video about the dark web.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh my god.
Okay.
I know. I was like, I have to be so careful, because I'll go on a tangent where I just like I'll sit there and I'll watch for hours, and then I'll be like, I have no idea what I was doing in the first place.
Right. Yeah, it's insane, but I love it. I love stuff like that, and it's just it's really cool. It's really cool. I meant to ask like what the maximum raid chain you've been a part of, because I know that you tend to do streams like this, and they tend to go on for like 3-4 hours, I would imagine, around that time. So once you're all done with it, you're probably like, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break.
It
but
depends.
Have you ever been on have you had like a max raid chain or anything? Or
I don't even know if I would know the extent to how far it went, because I feel like sometimes what I'll do right after, because I'll stream for a couple hours, and then I leave it up on I'll leave the raid or the stream that I rated up, and then it's one of those, sometimes I'll come back later and it will be something completely different, and I have I have no idea how many times it's been passed through or passed down. But yeah, no, it's actually Dom said in chat is that raid trains is how he ended up finding you on Twitch. Sorry, I gotta move my cat. She decided she wanted to sit right where my back support is in the chair. Oh nope, now she's getting comfortable. Okay, well,
Maui.
I'll just sit forward like this for now. She
Yeah,
decided.
Maui's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Maui's
she's
just like,
like,
you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and stay here.
yeah, that's what she
That's
does. She's like,
cool.
this is my spot now. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. She has her own chair now too, and everything. But
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
even
I got
better.
a chair back here. It's got a blanket on. You know, I put a blanket on it that Dom got me for Christmas that has her face on it, so it's hers. You know, but
Right.
you know, she's like, I want what I can't have. So
That's funny. That's
she's real
really
stubborn.
funny.
So when you started streaming, was it, because I know you had a process, so like did you have kind of a grasp on it and like how like formatting and everything when you moved to Twitch, and like did you kind of learn as you went?
I think it was probably more of the latter. Granted, I did broadcast on Periscope for about 4 years or so before I jumped onto Twitch, so I kind of had an idea about how live streaming would work, in terms of how to talk to your chat, how to engage with them, you know, how to check like troubleshooting.
I was gonna say the technology, because I tried a music stream once with I have a friend who she studied she was music composition in college, and she's studying music education in grad school right now. But she came and we used her keyboard. I had no idea all of the technology that goes into it. Additionally, between just general stream technology, it was a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be pretty overwhelming, and then like it seems to happen on your stream when you don't want it to happen. Like you're like, okay, man, this stream is gonna be great. Like I'm gonna play some tunes, we're gonna have some fun times, and then people are like, we can't hear your microphone.
Oh no.
Or we can't hear your alerts, or your stream is lagging, and I'm like, you know, this is just great.
Oh yeah,
This
I
is
feel
perfect,
like
right?
it's an added obstacle, especially when you're doing like music, like because I feel like just, you know, it's like a performance. So like normally in performing, I feel like everybody else, like I can at least speak from like an acting side of things. Like, you know, there are other people who, you know, their focus is the tech side of things. But when you're doing streaming, you're going to be your own tech person and the performer. So you've got to be able to like do that and put your energy into performing, but then also be ready, because if something goes wrong, it's on you to fix it.
It's insane. It's like you have to take your brain and you have to like split it into two parts.
Yeah.
So one part's going to be, okay, you do this, and the other part's going to be like, okay, go ahead and do that. But work together, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
do separate things, but also work together.
Also work together. It's a mess. But yeah, I've had a bit of experience with live streaming. So in terms of chatting with people and troubleshooting and setting up my gear, that wasn't too difficult. I think the one of the main things that made it difficult was getting familiar with the platform, really, and then also, you know, I think just getting familiar with the platform, all the resources, you know, all the things you can do, the widgets and stuff like that, and then, you know, the fact you can use commands and stuff like that. There was a lot to it, and a few of my friends told me about it, including one of my mods. He told me about Twitch, and there was a music community over here, and it, like after a little while of convincing, I was like, okay, cool, I'll come on over and I'll see what it's like, and I have not looked back. But yeah, it's definitely, that was one of the more difficult parts, just getting familiar with Twitch and everything, you know. So
yeah, did you know a lot of other streamers in coming to Twitch, or did you just kind of, I guess, meet people as you went?
Well, there were a few people that came over from Periscope. Angel's Piano was actually one of the first musicians from Periscope that went over to Twitch, and was over there a while before I jumped over. She still does broadcast today, but I think she was one of the first Twitch. Actually, she became a Twitch ambassador.
Okay.
And it was pretty interesting because I didn't even know what that was about. I didn't even know what TwitchCon was. But when I found out about all that stuff, I'm like, I kind of want to be a part of this now. So, but I did know a few people that came over. Yeah, okay, cool. And it was interesting hearing their take on it all.
Yeah. You typically do music, obviously that's, you know, your thing. Is there a specific kind of music or song or I guess a favorite thing that you have while streaming to do on stream?
I really like to use my loop station. Yeah, I really like to use my loop station because when I'm doing live shows, I don't have that luxury of being able to take my piano, my guitar, my kazoo, being able to take all that stuff and put it into a loop station and then have that just repeat over and over, and then I can just do whatever I want with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like the possibilities are endless, and I think that's what makes it really enjoyable, and that's what makes it fun for everyone else who's watching too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because they get to hear different renditions of these covers every time I do a stream. So it's like they're listening to, like, let's say they're listening to like Alicia Keys or something. I was playing an Alicia Keys tune. I don't know, I guess If I Ain't Got You, right? And every time they come into the stream, the loop isn't going to be the same. Granted, I'll have the same chords that I play, but the solo could be different. The way that I sing certain parts could be different. So it's like they're getting a different experience every time. And I love that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a good way to keep the same stuff unique, and it makes it, you know, interesting. Not that I'd probably listen to you do the same song over and over because you're that good, but like it's a good way to keep things, you know, like a little spicy, a little exciting.
Right, exactly. I think there was one time I was doing a no, actually this was recently. Recently I was doing a stream where I was using the Streamlabs spin wheel, and we ended up playing Under the Bridge, Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it was a reggae version because the spin wheel had different genres on it, and whichever one it would land on, we would change the original version to what it landed on the spin wheel. So it was reggae, and there was like I built the loop, and it had the bass, the it had the drums, everything, and then I just kind of got into the zone. There was a point where I actually forgot I was live streaming. I forgot I was on the live stream, and so I was just kind of in the zone, and then I had to snap myself back into it, and then there was a raid that followed, and yeah, I just really got into the zone. Sometimes I end up doing those loops and they'll end up going for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And people are still hanging out, you know, actively
like
in the chat.
It's just so cool though, especially like watching it build. I think that's part of the exciting is like you see it like come together, and it's like, you know, like I'll watch you do one thing and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then just how things stack on top of it and how creatively you utilize different instruments or different parts in different ways. And I think that's what's so exciting is like it's even more gratifying to watch the process and then see the finished product, because you're like, you can remember each of those moments distinctly and then you watch it all come together. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and it's I think that's just something that I just love. I love doing that. I love using my loop station because, you know, I don't know, you just get to customize it, make the songs the way you want to make them, and it's different from playing live gigs where you have to play, or at least you feel like you have to play certain songs because of the audience you're playing for.
Yeah,
you know, you might have to play like all popular hits from 2010s or whatever because of the audience you're playing for.
Okay.
But if you're on Twitch or something, you know, and you're doing a live stream with some good people in your community, then you could end up playing something from, I don't know, the 30s.
Yeah.
And people will still stick around because it's you playing it.
Yeah, it's the creativity.
And making it your own. Yeah.
I feel like you definitely have more creative liberty in it. Like, because you have more range. It's not like you have to, like, I don't want to say like pander to an audience, but in that way, like as a live performer, you're like, all right, this is the space. Because you don't have the luxury of being able to, you know, do the looping and do that process. You have to just kind of like, it's maybe a more direct delivery of music in that there's less that goes into it. Not, I mean, the practice and the skill that you've built over time is obviously there, but.
Right. Yeah. But it was when you were talking about like the direct delivery and also not necessarily pandering, but more like tailoring it to the people that are there, because, you know, they're getting drinks, they're getting food, they want to have a good time. They don't want to listen to you play Bittersweet Symphony, you know. they don't want to listen to you play like, you know, Wise Men Say, unless they're in the mood for it, you know.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to follow the crowd and see what they're
That's
doing.
So it's such an interesting process. I've never thought about the live performer process, you know, how you have to read the room. You have to be very I don't know, like reading body language is so important, and kind of seeing what people do you in those in like a live performing process, are you kind of gauging, or do you go in with a set list typically, or kind of what's your process there?
So generally I have a set list, because then that just makes it easier for me to play music and stuff. But every now and then, either people will ask me if I know how to play a certain song, and I might know how to play it, I might not. Other times I'll end up playing something out of the blue, and then it'll match the vibe of the room, and or whatever space I'm playing in, really. And that's something that I also picked up from playing wedding gigs, like anniversary parties, wedding gigs, all that stuff. Because you definitely have to, like, you have a set list, so you have a pre-prepared list of tunes, but you also have to, I guess, be ready to be on the fly if people are asking you for stuff, because they're there to have a good time and they want to hear the songs they want to hear. And if you know it, play it. If not, then play something very similar to what they want, or maybe just do something. But you just got to make sure that you keep the energy flowing, and so generally I have a set list, but every now and then I'll kind of go off that set list to play something that might match the energy of the room, or something I feel would work for them.
That's so neat. Someone in chat asked if you have a YouTube channel.
I do. I do. So it's Calvin Thomas Music Go. And the reason why it's not just Calvin Thomas Music is because there's another Calvin Thomas Music on YouTube, and he and I had chat. We were chatting at least twice, because we had stuff. I had stuff on Spotify, and he had stuff on Spotify, and Spotify didn't distinguish between the two Calvin Thomases.
Oh,
and so this happened twice. And so he reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, do you think we can work together to get this thing squared away?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. We got it taken care of." Second time, he was like, "Hey, do you think we can work together to get this thing squared away?" I'm like, Spotify, what are you doing? What are you doing over here?
Yeah.
And so, once that was all situated, good. But he still has Calvin Thomas Music on YouTube. So Calvin Thomas Music Go is for me.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
my YouTube. And that's my YouTube. Yeah.
Dom asked in chat, is there a specific song or genre that you've played in a different style that sticks out as your current favorite?
Ooh. Oh, damn, that's a really good one. Okay, yeah. So there is I think it goes back to the stream I mentioned earlier about how we played Red Hot Chili Peppers in a reggae version. Like, reggae just seems to work with everything, really. Actually, there's that one, but then there's also another stream that we did that was similar. So we were going to play Yesterday by the Beatles, but it needed to be in the form of bossa nova. And I love bossa nova. If there are different renditions of jazz tunes that are changed to bossa nova, different pop tunes that are changed to bossa nova, I love it. I have it on whatever playlist I can add it on. And so we took Yesterday by the Beatles and we made that into a bossa nova, gave it a bossa nova spin. And I was like, you know what? I'm saving this in my loop station. I'm not getting rid of this. I love this so much. Just mostly because of the chord changes and the progressions and how it all flows so nicely. I'm also a bit of a jazz head, so that stuff just really, like, when I hear those chord changes and things, I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. So I think that might be the song where I had to tweak it, and I just loved it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Beautiful.
Just the way that you can transform, like, it's the song, obviously it's the same thing, but it's so different at the same time, just to change genres like that. But it's pretty cool that it can be done like that, and just kind of like, I heard this is gonna be such a dumb example. It was like the Pokemon theme song, but a jazz version of it, and it was one of my favorite things. It was cool. Like,
wow.
It just, I don't know, the way that they changed and did the instruments and everything, and I think the vocalist was really, really good. And like, I don't know, like just something as simple as the Pokemon theme song can sound really, I mean, it's already a pretty solid song, but like it can sound really good when you know, make it a jazz version.
That's insane. Actually, I wouldn't mind hearing that as a jazz version.
Yeah, if I can
honestly.
find it, I'll send you the link. Because it's, I'm gonna write that down on a sticky note because I will forget if I don't.
Yes.
Write down jazz Pokemon.
Have you also seen those videos on YouTube where like they'll take a song that's in a particular key, like let's say a major key, and then they'll change it to a minor key? Have you seen those videos?
I haven't, but I've seen, like I remember hearing something like similar to this.
There was a video of Don't Worry Be Happy, and boom boom boom, I think it was in either B major or C, one of those keys, and they took it and they changed it to a minor key. So instead of it going like ba 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 da ba ba da 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 dum, they changed it to ba 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 da 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 da. So it's like it's completely different.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy moly, this is beautiful, but
just,
also sad.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so crazy. Like the extent of my music knowledge comes from my best friend, former college roommate, but she you know, studied music, and
right.
And one of my favorite things, being of the acting training background, is like how music can significantly change your mood. And like we talked about it in like a film context, and how background music in a movie is everything, because you take an emotional scene, add emotional music, and you just ramp up all of everything, you know. But just in general, like if you're sitting there and you're listening to music, there are songs that like that'll make me get more into my feels if I'm already kind of having a bad day, or songs that like really amp up my happy energy. And it's just so crazy how like psychologically you can be impacted by music like that, and like just changing like a major to a minor key even.
It's insane. They did that with Star Wars with the Imperial March, and like they went from whatever key it was in a minor key, and then they changed it to a major key, so it made it sound like Darth Vader was the hero. And then they took Luke's theme, Binary Sunset, and they changed that from a minor key to a major key. And so with the way that Binary Sunset sounds, it sounds like, okay, Luke, you're destined for greater things, but you just can't get it yet. What's that thing that's going to help you reach greater things? And until then, it's in a minor key. But when they changed it to a major key, it was like, hey, Luke, guess what? You saved the universe already. You saved the galaxy. You're a hero. Go back and, you know, make some more droids or whatever. Like the story was over, because just by that one key change, that's the kind of feel that you get. And it's intense. You don't think about it so intricate, so intensively until like when you really go back and you say, oh shoot, wow, this is actually really, this is a big change. It's insane.
Yeah, the storytelling possibility of music is very impressive to me. It's one of those, I talked to my friend about it a little bit, but like it's like how I hadn't thought about this until college, but like scoring a script. So like when I do acting stuff and like going through a script, they describe it as scoring, and you get the beat structure, and you make sure that there's like, you know, a rise and fall, you know, crisis, climax, denouement, like, and it's so interesting. I hadn't realized the kind of parallel to music before, and I just think it's so fascinating. Like, I don't know, like listening to just even instrumental music, like you can put a story to it, you know. Like a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know, pop music, and I think pop music is great, but I love listening to like movie score music, because you can hear the story. And I feel like there are certain songs like from movie scores that like I'll listen to, and like just walking around outside, and I feel like I am doing something important right now, you know, like it.
Well, shoot, the song for that situation just now, where you're walking outside doing something, you know, accomplishing a goal, you need Chariots of Fire in the background. You need that thing. You need that theme in the background. I would love to have that theme in the background whenever I'm taking out the trash or whatever.
It makes everything seem a little bit more important.
I've just got all these songs up here. I'm like, okay, let's go and dispense this one. Let's throw this one out there. But it's just really, it's really cool. Yeah, like the storytelling aspect. It's amazing what you can do with it. The possibilities are endless, really. You know, so fun.
I love it. I love it. Do you have a current favorite stream memory? Like anything that's happened on stream that sticks out to you as, I don't know, current distinct favorite?
Oh, okay. So there was okay. So there was a charity stream that we were doing in December. We were doing this for No Kid Hungry, and there was one. I think it was like the tail end of the charity stream. I was like, I saw the bar. It was almost completed. I was like, I know we're going to complete this. I know we're going to complete this. And the stream just went on and on and on. And then eventually we hit that goal. And I think it meant a lot more for. I feel like it meant a lot more for me, more so than the people watching, and maybe even for everybody that was involved. The compliments, Tara, Naomi, Emily McVicker. There were a lot of people that were involved. But I think one of the main things that made it important for me and so memorable for me was that I had never planned a charity stream before. I had only been a part of charity streams. And for me to be able to put this together, obviously I had Tara's help, because Tara was initially the one who came up with it, but she ended up getting a bit too busy to run it all, so I just took her place. But being able to put all that stuff together, get everybody together, raise over, how much did we raise? We ended up raising like $5,000.
Oh my gosh, that's
for
amazing.
It was fantastic. I loved every second of it, and I think that was a big accomplishment for me, because I honestly didn't think that it would be like, I thought that there would be a whole bunch of like cogs in the machine that would end up ruining the charity stream. And I thought that there would be like, just there would be some kind of issue with the charity stream that would ultimately have it not work out. And also, I didn't know if we would meet the goal, because we didn't have as many people as I wanted. And that was me freaking out about a lot of things. And when it all just worked and we met our goal, that just made my day. That just made my day. It was insane. No, wait, it wasn't 5,000. It was, I think it was 2,000. No, we ended up raising thousands of dollars. I'll just say that, because I'm having trouble remembering.
Either way, yeah. But, I mean, that's still absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and I feel like
it was a pretty big accomplishment,
especially after you put in all that work too. I think putting in the work to create an event like that, and then achieving your goal, I think is just, it's that gratifying moment of like, okay, like you see in that moment like all of the work that you put into it like paid off. And I feel like it's such a, I don't know, I feel like it's such a gratifying feeling to know that like all the energy that you put into it, you did something, you did what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I think another thing that made it really cool was that it was kind of like it was knocking out like short-term goals, so that you don't feel like, okay, I have to accomplish this big long-term goal and then I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
But instead it was broken down into smaller goals, like markers to hit. And when you hit that marker, you're like, okay, this feels good. Let's keep it up. Let's keep doing this. And I think that's been the way that I've been handling my personal goals too. Have the shorter ones, and then the longer ones you'll end up getting to as a result. But then by the time you get there, you've accomplished all these smaller goals, and you didn't feel unmotivated to keep moving.
I feel like that's a really important way to look at things, and because I know I tend to big picture too much, and so then it's one of those where you just think about like, I'm so far away from this, instead of like, look at all of the things that like we've done along the way. And I feel like that's such a good, it's a way to keep motivated and not get too hard on yourself.
Yeah, because I used to, actually I probably still do think about the bigger picture, like goal wise. I probably still do that without even realizing it. And when I don't get there, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the side, because I don't know if that's even going to be a thing. you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be a really, is this a thing? No. Okay. But I would just, I'd have to snap myself out of it, because I know I have the potential to, you know, shoot myself down, berate myself because I didn't hit that goal. You know, I'm like, why didn't you hit that? You could have, if you had done X, Y, and Z. But I think having the shorter goals makes it a little easier on myself.
Yeah.
And allowed me to, I guess, just live my life the way I want to live it, and not feel like I have to do whatever it takes to hit that big goal.
Yeah.
You know, because I know it can get to that point where you're like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to that goal. And so I'm like, you know what? We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's definitely, especially if you're like in the pandemic, it's so hard to get caught up in like, I get caught up in mental spirals all the time of like, oh, but I should have done this and I could have done this, or I should be here. And I feel like that's a way to practice kindness to yourself. Like one of the things that I've had to learn that I keep quotes from school, like little mantras. And one of them is like, you know, celebrate the little victories, because those are equally as important as the big ones. And if you don't celebrate little victories and, you know, get caught up in every like small failure kind of thing, like it's gonna be a bad time.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, I would lose motivation if I did that every single time. So, but yeah, no, that's a really cool way to look at it. And then it's like one of those, like, you know, you've had all the building blocks and put in work over the, you know, past 5 years basically, and you know, now you have this cool, you know, like being partner. I feel like it's such a cool moment to be like, look at all of that work coming together into this one moment, into this goal, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it's just been really cool. Actually, when I hit partner and then we did the celebration stream and all that stuff, I don't think I really processed all of it until I had some free days where I wasn't streaming.
Yeah.
Then it all just kind of came and hit me. I'm like, wait,
yeah,
is this legit? Is this, maybe all of these 10,000 followers are bots? Maybe the badge is something temporary. But I guess I had to really step back and look at what the channel was before, and then see what it is now, and all the stones I had to step on to get there, and all the people who helped me get there. So yeah, it took a little bit to process it all, but I'm glad that everything worked out, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, your streams, I think one of the things that I enjoy about it is not just really, really good music, which in itself is good, but like you are such a friendly personality, such a genuine, kind human as well, that like I feel like it's such a comfortable space to hang out in and just to, I don't know, enjoy. And I feel like it feels safe. It feels, I don't know, like a safe creative space in a way that I don't know exactly how to perfectly describe it, but I think that, you know, it's one of those that I've always felt comfortable just, you know, I'm not super verbal all the time, but I've always felt comfortable just hanging out and enjoying the energy.
Thanks, Aya. Yeah, so I was in somebody's stream one time, and there was I think I was lurking in Ariel Petrie's stream at one point, and she was talking about how there was one person who was, I guess criticizing the lurkers and how they're just like, they should be a bit more active in the chat and stuff. But it's like, if that were the case, they would have done it already, you know? And the thing with Twitch streams, especially when it comes back to streams with, you know, that are really, community focused and really open and friendly and I guess safe to be in, you know, they're there, but they don't have to be there. They don't have to be active in the chat, but they're still supporting you. They're just not active in the chat. They're not, you know, talking to people in the chat and everything. And I have no issues with that. you know, I lurk all the time.
Yeah.
So
It's like,
it's like if you're lurking, then hey, more power to you. I'm just glad you're hanging out in my chat, you know, or
Yeah.
in my stream, you know.
yeah, I feel like
I appreciate it.
people there are some people who are like, oh, like, you know, you should just be active in chat, but I'm like, I know there are a lot of people who just enjoy the sense of company. Like, I'm the kind of person that I used to leave the TV on all the time if I was by myself, because like I like the sounds, I like feeling like there's someone else. And at the time I didn't know really about streaming at all, and like once I found out about that, like leaving a stream on is so much nicer, because it's also like it's happening in real time too, so like you feel like you're a part of the conversation, you feel like you're there with people. And I feel like, yeah, you can interact if you'd like to, but like some people just want the company and they don't necessarily have the need to interact or want to, or they're doing other things, playing games or whatever, or cleaning. And I don't know, I think that I people who see that as not supporting, I feel like I disagree with, because I think that again, they are absolutely supporting the community. And I don't know, I feel like it depends, because I feel like there have been so many like different opinions on that kind of. I have a couple people commenting now saying that that's what they're doing the lurking thing. Boone
Like,
says
like,
shooting
okay,
aliens.
like, the people that you've probably gotten like tons of scenarios where it's like people would come in and they'll say, I have your music, I have the stream running while I'm making dinner, or I just finished like cleaning up my living room while I had your stream running. Like stuff like that's really cool to hear, because you know they're giving you some of their time, which is awesome. And then also you are becoming a part of their life. It might not be something grandiose, but it's a part of their life. And you know, it's helping, I would imagine.
Yeah, being able to bring any kind
really
of
cool
company or, you know, entertainment to doing dinner. You know, like if you're just making dinner, like, you know, it's like, well, I'll be here, you know, like hanging out with you. So
exactly, yeah.
It's funny when people will be like, I've had people be like, oh, I have you up on my TV right now while I clean. And I'm like, usually when they say that, I get up and I do some weird, because they're like my whatever inch screen, I do some weird flaily movements. Or I'm like, am I making use of the space? But like, you know, it's like fun to know that I'm like, you're not alone, you know, like especially in a pandemic, you know, when I feel like everybody feels that way.
This thing just came out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh, I remember I was doing a play in school. I was at the end of senior year. We finished the play and went immediately into lockdown, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess this is our life now.
So I guess I'm not coming back next week. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, it was kind of crazy, because I feel like it happened so suddenly that I haven't seen most of, well, because I graduated at the end of 2020 or spring 2020. So I didn't see most of the people I went to class with all 4 years, like at all. I did the first half of the semester, but then just a bunch of them, like I never saw them again, which was so like, it was weird because I lived right by campus. And so a lot of people went home and everything. And it was just such a weird experience, because the campus went from packed to a ghost town.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nice because I could walk through it social distanced without being around people, and I can go on a nice little walk through campus, but it was weird.
But you gotta picture that though. Like you leave your dorm, you know, the sun is shining, right? And it's a nice day. There's no one out there.
Yeah, it was empty.
That's like, insane.
Especially given how just the week before people were everywhere, everything was normal, people were doing parties, and I don't go to parties because I'm not a social I get social anxiety, and when I go out, it's like I plan in advance. I put a bottle by my bed, and I'm like a bottle of water, and I'm like, I can't go to bed unless I drink that water, you know, like I'm a grandma about it. But other, you know, like everybody was living life, you know, as normal, walking around, everything was, you know, happening, events were happening, you know, in the middle of campus, and then all of a sudden everything was just shut down. I feel like it just, everything about it came out of nowhere, like it was happening, but the way that everything started, I think. And honestly, that's why I am so thankful for streaming, because I don't know what I'd be doing right now if I wasn't streaming.
I hear that. Like if I wasn't doing any music stuff, I don't know if anything else that I would be doing would be sufficient enough for me to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the things that I didn't really think about too much because I had music as a hobby and also as a career. But for people that were picking up hobbies during the pandemic, like how long have they been sticking with those things? Like, did they drop it like after a week because they were still stuck in their house and they couldn't leave, or maybe they stuck around with it for like 3 months, 6 months, who knows? But they're still in their house and they can't leave, they can't do anything, they can't go anywhere. So like that's insane. I know that would probably drive me insane if I didn't have like all this music stuff that I was doing. But I wonder, like, because they would say, hey, you need to get some hobbies and stuff so that you can keep yourself occupied and during the pandemic. But it's like, how long would that last though?
Yeah, like if it's not something you're passionate about, I feel like doing it over and over, because I feel like part of the thing that's hard about the pandemic is being stuck in your house, like not getting a change of scenery, not getting any kind of additional mental stimulation from the outside world. So I feel like even a new hobby would get old unless it's something you're super excited about. I feel like could definitely get old super fast because you're like, okay, like I'm doing it again. Like here's my basket weaving class again. You know, like, you know, I don't know what people are doing. I don't know why I defaulted to basket weaving. I don't think it's that popular of a hobby, but
I mean, if you look on like the top 100 hobbies, basket weaving could be on there.
Yeah, it could
be on there, right above like I don't know, maybe painting eggs.
Yeah,
painting eggs or something.
The delicate art of egg painting.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it'll probably come up soon because Easter's gonna happen, so I'm sure egg painting might surpass basket weaving, but it's a possibility. I mean, well, no, they need their baskets for the eggs for Easter, you know, somewhere to put the eggs. So it's a toss-up. I don't know which one will win in the end. It's
I'm hoping that it'll be the egg painting.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very, very delicate art.
Yeah, somebody else can make the basket. I just want to put the eggs in them.
Oh yeah.
The less work I have to do, the better.
Oh, absolutely. I super went off the questions that I have for which is not a problem. I enjoy kind of going from whatever to, like, my whole thing is I have a list of questions if I need them, but it's one of those like, if there's other conversation happening, like, let's go with that, because I just want it to be as relaxed as possible.
Yeah, and I honestly, the fact that I'm able to like throw all of this random stuff out, you know, like if you had a strict set of questions that you were asking, like, okay, how long have you been live streaming? Okay, good, done. What's your favorite type of Logitech device? Okay, wireless keyboard and mouse. Okay, cool, check. What's your favorite type of computer? You know, well, I probably shouldn't say that live because I know we'll probably start a PC versus Mac war in here. But anyway, like I have a bunch of random stuff up here, so I appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like
being able to throw that off.
That's that's kind of like one of the fun things about it, and what I really wanted, because I'm like, you can stick to a strict like list, but I feel like allowing people to go off on tangents is, I mean, I have a tendency to do that all the time, and I feel like you get to some interesting conversations by allowing it. Yeah, and like it's like I want to know more about, I don't know, what you think and what you, I don't know, who you are, and I feel like tangents are a good way to express that and express, I don't know, you end up in conversations you would not have guessed that you would have gotten into.
True, very true. So like, okay, so if you were chatting with like a friend or something, because I know this has happened to me a couple of times, like for example, I was talking to one of the guys that I used to play with in DC and Virginia, Mike, and I would talk to him about something, and then we'd end up talking about it for a little bit, and then we'd go off on a couple of tangents, and then I would bring something up, and he wouldn't say anything back, and I'd be like, okay, is this where the tangents stop so we can talk about something that's a little more focused? Like, how do you know, like, when, like, has that happened, like, to where, like, you would talk to somebody you know you're comfortable around, and then you go on a bunch of tangents, and then you try to continue on that, and then they're like, you know, okay, we're done.
Yeah. I know. I do that a lot. Like, both my brother and I do that a lot, and I didn't realize what it's like until I was talking to my brother, and he'll go and go, and it's one of those that like sometimes I don't really realize it until a certain moment where I'm like, can I go to the bathroom now, or do I like, should I wait longer? Like, it's one of those where I'm like, I don't want to interrupt this, but I also I don't know if there's a stopping point. But yeah, no, I did that. I talked Dom's ear off the other day. We were driving to the vet to get Maui, and I went on this full tangent where I was like, and then this, but then this reminded me of this, and and I just went down, and I hit a point where I was like, oh my god, I've been talking for so long, and I was like, I'm so sorry. So I like cranked up the music and just started like jamming.
And music saves the day yet again.
I know. He was like, does this mean you're done talking now? And I just kept singing along. He's like, I'll take that as a yes. But yeah, I usually
it's interesting.
I'll just hit that wall of where I have this moment of realization where I'm like, I have no idea how long I've been talking or why I started talking, but
yeah, like you lose the reason why you were in there in the first place, and you're like, I meant to talk to you about this like 20 minutes ago, but we were talking about something else, so maybe we can come back to that.
Yeah.
It's like,
how do we get back, though? Like circle back to the original point?
Yeah. find the dots to connect.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's interesting. It's just interesting because that happens to me sometimes. I'm like, sorry. Whoops.
Whoops. Actually, I have other streaming related questions, but I realized that my whole context of knowing you is through stream. So I don't know if you have any, like, I wanted to know, like, what if you had to, like, you can say as much or as little as you want, but like, what's your story if you had to sum up yourself in facts?
Okay. I guess I am a guy who didn't know what he had in front of him until it was possibly taken away. And I'm gonna explain that. Basically, I grew up in a musical family. So my dad was playing in a few bands here and there. He was in a church band, and then afterwards he started playing in a R&B, funk, jazz mix kind of band. Was playing gigs in Miami and Hialeah, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami Beach, places like that. So there was that. My brothers and my cousins were all, they were pretty musically inclined. I got my guitar when I was 13, took guitar classes, took some piano to fine tune what I had already like picked up on my own in college. And I wanted ultimately to be a musician, performing musician, probably more so recording musician more than anything, studio musician. But I was holding myself back because I didn't think I'd be able to, pay for food, gas, a roof over my head. I didn't think I'd be able to make it into a career. Because I was also going to school for computer engineering.
Okay, wow.
And so, yeah. So I was like, if I get my engineering degree, then I can make up to $100,000 a year. If they're like, hey, we need you for the big projects, we'll pay you a lot. So there was that. But I still wanted to play music. And that was the only thing I really felt comfortable doing. Like, I wasn't a huge sports person. But music was the only thing that really allowed me to express myself and also kept me sane. It allowed me to keep my thoughts in order. And I didn't think I'd be able to handle all that as a career, as well as the other stuff I mentioned, like pay for, just pay for food, gas, all that stuff. And I didn't think I'd be able to do that. So I found all these different ways to keep myself away from it. But then at the same time, I was also seeing all of these other things that were signs that said, hey, come on back. You can be a musician. You can You can feed yourself. You can, all those things that you didn't think you could do, you actually can. And I partially thank the internet for it. Now, probably not the safest thing to say, thank you, internet, because it's a bit rocky, that statement. But it basically allowed me to find Twitch, Patreon, Fiverr, Periscope, Bandzoogle, all those things that I normally use to take care of myself and to also, cause my music career to grow, compared to more traditional methods like playing at live venues and stuff like that, bigger shows and things, because that's what I thought I'd have to do to be a musician, and I liked it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I liked it. Also, I was able to make money doing what I liked. But this is what I wanted, but I just couldn't envision it because I wasn't looking hard enough. And I had all these other things that were keeping me back. And I really wish those things weren't there, because I probably would have been here much, much sooner. But I think, I have friends that I've made on live streaming. My family has always been there. Whether or not I would acknowledge it or not, they've definitely been there, and they're still there for me. Friends that I haven't met on live stream, friends that I knew before I jumped on the platform, they supported me. So it's like there were so many things that were saying, "Hey, you can do this. You just have to do it." And I don't know. I think I'm just. I had all this stuff in front of me, and if I hadn't taken advantage of it, I would have missed this opportunity, and who knows what would have happened. So I guess my story per se is, I had all these signs in front of me, and I took them instead of ignoring them like I feel like I should have, because there were some things I felt like I honestly didn't. There were things I felt like I didn't deserve to have, and that's not good, especially if it's something you really want. If it's something you really want, you kind of don't want to feel like you deserve it, because you're just stripping away whatever future you're trying to build for yourself. And I think I'm just one of the many millions of people that got that understood that, and just wanted to take advantage of the signs as best as possible. So I don't know if that's it's all over the place, I guess.
No, that's super cool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But that it makes, I don't know, I feel like it's really cool, especially knowing that like Twitch is kind of a way to do the version of what you wanted. It's one of those, like, you wouldn't have known before knowing that it was a thing, and like live streaming and music, and without knowing about that as an avenue of music performance and putting music out there. But I feel like it's really cool knowing that it was kind of a way to get the version of music and music performance and production that you wanted to do.
Yeah,
that's so fascinating.
Yeah. It's really interesting, because you think about music in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, and you think about musicians that would have to play at live venues in order to get things like sponsorships, to build their career, to network, and to just help them grow. But over the the past decade, we've seen so many different resources that we could use as musicians to better our craft and to reach further. For example, one of the album that I released a couple of years ago, October Sky, I recorded everything except drums. And so yes, I did. Okay, so I recorded everything except drums. And so I reached out to somebody who's all the way in Finland or Iceland. and he played the drum parts for me. But I never thought that'd be a thing if I didn't know of like what the possibilities that would be available to musicians in the modern day.
Yeah.
Because the modern day has so many resources. It's out there. You just have to do the research if you're really committed to the cause. So long story short, like the 2010s, I think, was a pretty awesome decade when it comes to musicians being indie musicians, because there's a lot out there, and you could, and like there was a way for you to be a musician, definitely, because of all the stuff that was out there. So
yeah, I feel like
it's just super convenient.
The internet and technology has made being a creative, like I guess like even broadening it to like being the creative type in any form, from music to like filmmaking, with all the streaming capability for shows and like YouTube. And it's just kind of crazy how much it's opened up, because of course with like art and all of that, everything was you had to do like theater live, or you had to do like an in-person art show. There wasn't as much of a way to get your art out there. And then especially like you're talking about collaborating, like it's so cool how you can be in completely different areas entirely and make a song together. Like I feel like that's such a cool, I don't know, technology is wild. That's just not a thing that would happen like however many years ago. And I think it opens up so many more avenues for collaboration and creativity, because it allows you to also kind of play off of each other. And like you said, like being able to have someone fill in the drum part from across the world, like that's insane in the best way possible.
Yeah, and it's amazing, because you're thinking, how in the world am I so easily able to reach out to this person from the other side of the planet? Like if I wanted to work with somebody in Japan, all I'd really have to do is find some type of session musician website like Air Gigs or Fiverr or something, or what is it, Session Wire, something like that, and boom, I could work with somebody from Japan and we could write a song together. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even have to leave my house.
Yeah,
I didn't have to leave my house to record this. Like, what? Like, dude, this is insane. So I love stuff like that, and I love how readily available all those things are to people, because that's just even more motivation that you can do whatever you want to do, if not sooner. And it doesn't just apply to musicians; it applies to any type of content creator, really. And like the possibilities are just endless, especially now.
Oh yeah.
And technology is getting better and better and better every day. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what we'll be able to do in even a couple of years.
Yeah, like you might just be able to write a song in thin air, and then you'll be able to send it to your computer. You'll just like throw your hand at your computer.
Yeah, be
and
able
then
to
boom,
just
you can send it to somebody.
throw ideas.
Just literally throw that. throw ideas. Exactly. That wasn't where I was. Like, I didn't know that there was a pun in the span of all of that, but I guess it's there. I didn't know that was what I was setting myself up for. But yeah, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy, and I'm just really looking forward to all of it. Honestly, it's really cool.
Have you always wanted to do music? Like, I know you grew up in a musical family. Did you know pretty young that that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I did, because I saw my dad doing it, and like it was amazing, and then also the stuff just kind of came naturally. I can't think that far back to when I really started to get into music stuff, but I know that when I was younger, I want to say 6 or 7. It could possibly be younger, maybe a little older. I'll have to ask my parents or something, see if they remember. But I know I would go to like Walmart or Target or whatever, and I would just end up banging on the shelves as if they were a drum kit. and I'm like, this is fun. They might have been like, can you stop doing that, please? But that was something that I just loved doing. And then, I got a chance to like play drums a little bit. And while I was like I think it was while, oh man, Actually, I can't even remember. I know I got a chance to play drums as a kid a while back, and then I didn't come back to it until later. But yeah, it's just I knew I definitely wanted to do something like that. Maybe not professional musician, but I know I wanted to play music and just, if anything, really make it just a hobby of mine, because that was the best way I could honestly explain myself. The best way I could express how I felt about certain things. And my family, they raised, I have three brothers, and they raised all of us with the same morals and values, but also wanted us to grow and be individual people and find ourselves. I was kind of the person who was like, out of the entire group, I kind of wanted to be the different one. Now, I don't know if it has anything to do with me being a middle child or not.
Middle children, yes.
Because I've heard that like middle children, they're like, okay, I got to find a way to stand out, and I got to do this now.
Yep,
you know,
that was me.
Yeah. like I have to, like, this is going to be my thing, you know, and I tried to find ways to stand out, you know, and but it wasn't too extreme, but it was just enough to where, you know, they could tell that, you know, it was me. And music was a great way for me to, you know, really express all that, but then also keep myself in check, because, you know, you have if you have that idea of, okay, I want to be unique, I want to be different, you could end up going too far to where it becomes a problem, you know. So this actually helped without me even realizing that it helped, you know. So I was able to keep all that in order.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. So, but yeah. So I had to remind myself of like what I was responding to. Yeah. So I didn't know I wanted to be a professional musician until later on, but I knew that I wanted music in my life in a very, very big way. I just couldn't express that until I got old enough to put intricate thoughts together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, within, I'm assuming it would be within music, but do you have like an ultimate dream job? Like, if you could do absolutely anything and get paid for it, what would that be?
I would say probably running a recording studio.
Oh.
Yeah, because like all of this is like what I eventually want maximized by like literally 100. You know, to have different rooms people can go into and they can record music. They can like record stuff for if they're doing voice acting, you know, they can use that insulated room. There will be a big room where it will have like this giant mixing board, you know, like the ones you would see in those fancy schmancy recording studios. You know, they'll have like who knows how many sliders and buttons and things. And to be able to put myself in that scenario where this entire recording studio is mine, and there are people who can come in and record stuff, and I can help them do that. That's something that I would really, really love to do. It's something I'm actually still working towards.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because like I love studio recording. Like the live venues I've done, I had fun doing them. Wedding gigs, anniversary parties, playing at some breweries, you know, clubs here and there, fun stuff. But I love recording in my studio, partially because I get to experiment with so many things, but also because it's kind of a place where I can just be by myself for a little bit.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's so much more of a like a personal process, you know, versus being, you know, like it's nice to share music with everybody, but I feel like it also allows you to be with yourself with your music for a little bit. Yeah, like you get to zone out if you're working on projects. Like there'll be moments where I'll be working on a project and it'll be 4 a.m. and I'm like, I'm gonna go to sleep. So I turn all the lights out, I get in my bed, and I'm like, you know, there's actually one part in the project I want to add, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn everything back on, and I'm gonna get back to the project. And I'll be like dead tired, but it's something that I wouldn't do that for anything else, really. Yeah.
Like when it comes to music projects and when it comes to like anything really music related, I wouldn't really do that with. I'm not as committed like that with other music related things as I am with recording studio projects and editing and all that stuff, because that's just really fun to do.
Yeah, I feel like once you're in like in the zone with it, like, you know, it's so hard to pull yourself out. It's like, but there's one more thing, just one more thing. Like, I'm just gonna fix this one more thing, and it's so easy to. It's almost like a mental tangent, almost, where you're like, you know, you keep thinking of different things like that you want to do with it or tweak with it, or like, oh, but I just want to fix this one section, or you know. And before you know it, it's like 7 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like, okay, I'm gonna add this, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add it, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. And then when that stopping point hits, you're like, it's been 4 hours. How? I said I was gonna stop like 4 hours ago, and here I am 4 hours later. And what do I do now?
Mm-hmm. You're like, wait, when did all of this time pass? I don't remember exactly. That happening.
Yeah, sometimes I'm afraid to look at my watch when stuff like that happens, because I'm like, yeah, I spent a lot of time on this when I was only gonna make a 5-minute change.
Yeah.
It's ended up becoming 4 hours. But yeah, it's just stuff like that where you're really committed to those kinds of studio projects where you have all of this power to make the song the way you want it to be. It's just really, really cool to manipulate stuff like that. And to be able to take all of that aspect and to maximize it and take that to the next level, that's something that I would really love to have happen.
Yeah,
my dream job.
That's so cool. I love that.
It's really,
and I feel
really
like
cool. So
being able to also be on the other side of things as well would be also a different and fun experience, also to allow, like, getting to be there for different processes coming together and fostering that creativity as well. Yeah,
it's so fun. It's so fun. I love every second of it, you know. It's definitely a lot better than the grocery store job I used to work at. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, working with people is working with people and things. And yeah, I worked at, it was like a coffee shop, pie shop by my school, and it was just the worst because it was the kind of thing where like people would bring their dogs in and they'd pee, and then they'd like just leave and not say not think just like, hey, there's a pee puddle on the floor, or you know, just like my biggest issue is just people being rude. That's my thing. Yeah,
when you said coffee shop, I was like, oh boy. That might be, you might have some characters come through.
Oh yeah, it's one of those. It's a good variety. My least favorite are just like the outright rude people. Like someone ordered a giant order and I was still putting it into the computer, and she just like shoved her money in my face, and I was like, ma'am, I just need a minute, put this in, and she just does one of the like and I'm like, okay. I guarantee that wherever you're going is not that, like, just calm down for 1 minute.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
You would think that she became the president or something.
Yeah,
and she's like, I gotta
know.
Go now.
It's like,
dude, you're probably literally just going to another store that's right across the street.
Like, if you needed it this quickly, you could have ordered ahead of time on the app.
Yeah.
Like, but instead you came in here, or, you know, there were people like, my slice of pie is smaller than it was like last time. I had to pull out the diagram. We have a diagram that shows like how to evenly, like what a slice is like, because like you know, we have to cut them evenly, obviously, but like we're trained, literally part of the training was to like learn how to cut them evenly. And I was like, ma'am, this is the pie that your slice came from. All of the slices are the same size. Like and still she was still insisting that like, no, it's smaller than it should be.
Sounds like
always right.
She was being a bit petty.
Just the detail, the length that some people will go to show their dissatisfaction is astounding to me. I'm like, all right, it's pie. Like, you got your pie, you have something in front of you. Like, I like people, but I don't.
Yeah, that's you know, it's funny. Like, the grocery store job I was working at, the place was it had 2 floors, and the second floor was the fresh fruits department. And I think whether it was the first or second floor, it was kind of like high school drama between all of the people I worked with, and I steered clear of that because like I'm just trying to make some money,
Yeah.
slice some ham, and then go home. Really, I just want to slice some ham, go home, and then make sure I get paid. But you know, every now and then it would kind of like you would see the drama slip through the cracks, and you know, they would end up getting you involved, like intentionally. And I'm like, guys, I don't have anything to say about this. I don't listen into the conversations. I have nothing to contribute. It would be like Among Us, you know.
Oh my god.
Usually, I have nothing to contribute, so that's all I can say. Only when it comes to Among Us, that might not look the best.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that grocery store job, like I literally had nothing to contribute, so I just wanted to get back to slicing some ham. But yeah, like customers would come in as well, and they'd feel pretty entitled. It would get to the point where they would. We also had like a pizza oven in the same area. Pizza oven subsection, prepackaged foods, deli, bakery. They would come in and they'd order pizza, and one customer wasn't really allergic to any of the toppings that were on the pizza, but the customer just wanted the dough fully cooked, and then they wanted the toppings on it, but no sauce. And I'm like, we normally don't make pizzas that way. And they're like, but I'm a returning customer. I shop there all the time, and I feel like this is something that you guys should normally do. Now, the thing about it is, I know you probably shop there all the time, but that's something called a customer that gets a special VIP rewards or something like that, because that shows you shop there. But that doesn't mean that you can have the pizzas made in a way to where it becomes difficult for people to make it, you know. That's just being kind of difficult as it is. So yeah, we had to make that for them, and they also weren't very satisfied at how it turned out, because they probably had a specific way of how they wanted it to look. Another person wanted some Alfredo sauce on it, and we would have to leave the fresh food section and then go to another section to grab some Alfredo sauce, and then come back and add it, because that's not something that we normally did.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, you know.
Like if you want a really fancy pizza, you can go to a pizza shop where their whole thing is, you know,
their
making
whole thing
varieties of pizza. Yeah.
Pizza.
It's their specialty.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I also love I'm a returning customer. Like I just had a flashback, I swear. Just the kind of like, I am a customer.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Like, I shop here all the time. I don't have to come here, but I do. And they'll do stuff like that where they try to guilt trip you. It's like, I don't have to come here.
Like, I don't personally see the rewards of you being here specifically. Like, when I would get tired of dealing with people, I'd be like, all right, I'm on dishes, and I'd just go hide in the back and wash dishes.
Yeah, that's something that I would do as well, but I would just kind of like, I'm just gonna go do them. But I wouldn't, like, sometimes I'd tell people, sometimes I wouldn't, but like when I go, I'm just like, oh, I'll work on the dishes. That way I didn't have to help customers.
Oh yeah, I know. I'd be like, all right guys, if you need me, I'm in the back washing dishes. Which the part I didn't like about that is like people would leave unfinished pie, and so then I had to like try to get all the pie off, and I'd end up touching like because you could get ice cream with it, so it'd be like wet pie crust that I was like, because sometimes we had gloves, sometimes we didn't. I didn't enjoy touching wet pie, but I would rather touch wet pie than deal with people sometimes, and I think that's just a testament to how people are.
Yeah, you made the sacrifice to wash all those dang dishes and not help any of those customers. You know,
I'm so sad about it. Oh my gosh.
Boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. It's one of those, like, it just also, like, I don't understand how as a person you can decide to be that. You go in and you choose violence, you know, like you choose to be aggressive to people who are just trying to, like, they're just doing their job, you know, like.
That's so it's interesting because it's like you're outside the entrance to the store, and you're like, man, I should send my family some thank you cards. You know, I feel like they really enjoy it. And then once they hit the door, the entrance, I'm literally gonna make this person's day difficult.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm gonna this person
like,
might be having a bad day. Let's make it worse. Let's see how bad we can make it.
How far can we go until we break this person?
How deeply do I need to be catered to today?
Yeah, it's just like I don't. Some people just like to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
I stole that from The Dark Knight, but it's definitely required.
It's a very valid quote. Especially I feel like just in how I've seen some people handle the pandemic and like and all of that, and how I've seen people treat each other during this time. I feel like the idea that some people just want to watch the world burn is absolutely, yep, that's it. That's the quote. Yeah. And I'll sit there like the "this is fine" dog, just like
it's like
it's
this.
Fine.
Yeah, it's like this is fine. This is fine. We're fine. I'm fine.
Everything's fine. Don't even bother.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Meanwhile, you've got like this 36-story flame behind you. You're like, this is fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Don't even just don't look at it, and it's not there.
It's all right. It's not, I'm not even hot.
Yeah,
I'm not even hot.
I can't even feel it.
Anything.
I'm like super cold right now. You've got like a single tear coming down your face.
Yeah, you're like, no, that's not mine.
That must be from the.
Like, whoops.
They're just no.
It's not me. It's not me.
It must be raining.
Yeah.
See, nature is taking care of it. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, people are interesting, and I think what makes all of that, I guess, tolerable are the people who know about that stuff, and as normal, good-natured people, they try to distance themselves from those kind of people and pull in the ones that are going to that are pretty much aren't them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it just feels good, but then it also I don't know, it's just you feel better at the end of the day, and then you're all trying to help each other in some shape or form.
Yeah.
And luckily we had a good amount of that last year, especially when it came to like responding to frontline workers and all the stuff that they do. It's insane. Like I don't know. I have one of my aunts is a nurse, and she mentioned that it was pretty intense seeing the hospitals the way that she saw them, but she still went to work and did her thing and still does it to this day, and I can't imagine how stressful that must be
every day,
how intense it must be. Yeah, especially since it's every day,
Oh yeah.
But it's just amazing to see them push through, and how they have all of the support from people from everywhere, from around the world, and it's just like they deserve it, if not more. They deserve it.
For sure. When you're talking about like having people that make up for all the bad people, it made my mind immediately went to like Twitch communities, because you got to deal with some bad eggs who come through. And it's unfortunate, like it's sad that it happens as much as it does, but it's one of those that I think one of the reasons that it doesn't bother me as much anymore is, one, usually they're the way that I look at it is I'm like, there's something so profoundly sad about how their existence is that they want to go make other people sad, and then I feel kind of bad. Like, not like I'm gonna actively try to help them, but like I just kind of feel bad. Like, find a hobby, maybe basket weaving, try it. But there's so many good people who make up for, I think, and at the end of the day, like having those good people in the community who are there to, who genuinely care and will either defend you or support you in spite of people like that, I think is one of the other cool things about streaming and creating your stream community. Yeah, it's just like the amount of times that I've had my mods come through and get some really questionable people out of my chat. It's like, wow, that was fast. I didn't even know you guys. Oh yeah, it's one of those, you look back and you're like, you see a notification of like so and so has been banned. You're like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I guess I will just keep on doing my thing, because you guys are doing yours. And it's just fantastic. It's like they're looking out for you, and like I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because they're good natured people. My mods are great. They're really great people, and I shouldn't be surprised that they're looking out for me. But like every now and then, when they do stuff like that, they get toxic people out of my chat, or they get people who say hateful, offensive things out of my chat. I'm like, man, I'm really glad to have you guys.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say having a good mod is probably one of the most important things for streaming, especially if you're doing something that especially like music, because you can't just like stop in the middle and go handle it. So I think that having a good team there that's ready to catch things like that, I think is so important. And I feel like so many people, at least I hope it doesn't happen, but like I feel like there are people who take for granted the work that their mods do, because I'm like, Cowboy is the mod for me, that he can jump on anything super fast, and like it's like the second it's up, it's gone, and I'm like, I don't even like I didn't even have a chance to process what that was.
Yeah. Like, was that even there to begin with? Maybe I'm just hallucinating. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, especially with music, because like there are moments where I could use my loop station and repeat some chords or whatnot and then take care of it, but it's just much easier to have them around and have them take care of all of that, because like I think above all else, they know that I don't want it there, and they know that the community doesn't want it there. So that's just enough incentive for them to get it out of there, get it out of the chat,
I know you mentioned one of your mods you knew from Periscope. How did you come about finding your mods and deciding like this is someone who you trust to hold that position?
So indubitably Brendan, I knew him from Periscope, and he was following me for a while actually, and I got to know him a little bit better piece by piece throughout the entire Periscope era, I guess. And then yeah, I noticed that he mentioned that he had been over on Twitch a lot more than Periscope, and so when I finally got over to Twitch, I guess I maybe I didn't reach out to him sooner that I was on Twitch, because I guess maybe I don't know what was going on, but eventually he did come over, and he told me a lot about the resources and the commands and widgets and all that stuff, and I just either it was his idea, his recommendation to make him a mod, or it was my recommendation. But I feel like it was more like his, because he already knew what it consisted of. So I'm like, all right, man, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a few of my other mods, Professor is actually another one of them. And I actually got a chance to meet him in person.
Oh, cool.
While I was playing at some farmers markets, because that was what I did when I was working at that music store, so that I could have another means of income. And it was a farmers market, I guess maybe about an hour and a half or so away from here, and got a chance to meet him in person. And he's a really cool dude. And eventually I just made him my mod, because I feel like not only did I get a chance to meet him and talk to him about stuff in person, but also the way that he interacts with the chat is it's pretty cool stuff. It's pretty cool stuff. He is pretty involved when he can be, because he also has a family to take care of too, so he jumps back and forth.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He definitely was mod material. And then I have a few other people as well. Lizzie Bear Music is another one of my friends that I met on Periscope.
She did the talent show. She did, yes.
Yep. She, I've known her for a while. I think I might have known her almost as long as Brendan. But I also met her on Periscope too. And I made her one of my mods when she became a bit more familiar with Twitch and everything. And she just recently started streaming too.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
That's
just
so
recently.
exciting.
Yeah, so it's pretty. She's already got like a few mods, and she's got like a setup, and she has music that she's working on.
Nice.
She has music that she's already worked on, because she and I worked on an album that she released recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I feel like
he's doing a lot of stuff.
From what I saw, at least from the talent show, you are a role model for a lot of people who are pursuing music. It was really cool to see just how many people look up to you and are inspired by what you do. And that was something, because again, I don't know anything about music, so I felt weird contributing. I was like, I like your vibes, and like that's the best I can do sometimes with music, at least, because I don't know the details of the intricacies of the instruments and everything, but just to see
that's just as good, really. That's just as good.
I mean, I can talk about how the music made me feel. That's typically how I connect to music, because I don't have the technical elements of it, but
yeah,
it was also really cool to hear. I enjoyed getting to hear your perspective on the songs and on the performances, because I just kind of like what you hear from it and your takeaway, just because it's not how I necessarily see or hear music. And so that was something that was also so, I don't know, it was like a learning experience for me. And so I feel like myself, and I feel like a lot of other people see you as almost also like a teacher figure, without you even always necessarily realizing it or not. Like you just kind of, you also exude this kind of wisdom about it too, which is super cool to see and to be around.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I guess I did. Okay, so I did teach a few students a while back, but it was like private teaching and things. And I did want to get back into teaching guitar, but I personally don't think the time is right now, because I still want to do more performing. I would definitely want to do more recording, and just kind of I guess just make those my two main aspects. But I would like to get into teaching sometime soon, because there's a lot of stuff that I think people would really like to hear, music related, that could ultimately help them, maybe not just in music, but also like dealing with like de-stressing, because music has a lot of really helpful properties. Like one of the things it can do is it can actually help lower your blood pressure, so that you can relax. In fact, that's like when you're listening to calming music, it's actually causing your body to relax as well. That's because
so wild.
The medical effect kicks in.
It's like the like spa music, the really like gentle like flute.
Yeah, like all that stuff. Like if you're listening to bossa nova, like that music is just chill beyond belief. So that already calms you down. And you might have seen, you've probably seen this like everywhere on the web, but music that's in 432 hertz is meditation. Is usually like for meditation and yoga and stuff like that. But probably more so like meditation, really. And that also helps you connect with I guess the more spiritual aspect of music. I haven't tried that a whole lot, but I have a friend who was all about that. Actually, that friend is Lizzie. She's all about that. But yeah, it's just got so many properties and things, and it's just really cool that people. It's really cool that people like to hear what I have to say about certain things in music, and I'm honored, really. It's cool. Yeah. I try not to talk about it a whole lot in my streams though, because I can get carried away when I'm supposed to be playing music. And they're like, "Hey, keep talking," and I'm like, "Cool," but I gotta get back to playing music, because that's kind of what the channel is about. I mean,
you could also theoretically do, because I know you do Patreon. If that's something that you ever had thought about doing, you could do like, once a month or something, you add like a little like music technology or music info video to Patreon and stuff. And I mean, because it's a diverse skill set that you have, so I mean, it's something that I think people would definitely be interested, especially learning from you, because you're so knowledgeable about it.
I think that would actually be a really good idea, just because, for one thing, I wouldn't feel guilty about like talking about the music theory and all that stuff, and like not feeling like I have to play music afterwards. But also because it's just another, like you were saying, another thing that people would really be interested in. I mean, they talk about it all the time. And then I'm always trying to find new Patreon rewards that people would really like anyway. Yeah. So just trying to dig through the rewards and find what works best. that's
it's
something that would definitely be cool.
What kind of stuff have you, I guess, cultivated right now for your Patreon? Just because I've seen you post a little bit about it, and I have a Patreon that I started. I don't know. My stuff is more like, oh, here are some like cosplay pictures. I have to upload my Thanos ones. That's further nightmare fuel. But you know, like
Thanos.
I did Thanos makeup yesterday. It was nightmare fuel. It was the scariest looking thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Oh, hold on. I'll send you a picture after. It's truly terrifying. I did the bald cap and everything.
Oh man, you went in there 110%.
I did.
You were
did.
Thanos. Oh wow, that's awesome. I can't wait. That's awesome. Yeah, and then you've also got the Infinity Gauntlet right behind you. I just noticed that.
Super high quality prop dish glove with glitter paper on it is what.
Nope, don't break my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, you can.
That's the Infinity Gauntlet.
The Infinity Stones are glittering like they, like the real rocks that they are.
Exactly. Perfect.
So now that's where it's gonna chill there. It was my budget gauntlet.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think I might have popped into one of your streams a couple of times a while back, but this was like, even with the stuff you had in your background and everything, your chat was just like, they were really digging the vibe, and then when you got your neon sign, I think that just when it took things like to the next level, you know? So I mean, yeah, it's you've got all this mixed stuff from your neon sign to your Infinity Gauntlet, but I mean, it all just kind of works in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? It
was my big passion project when I moved, because I moved from the house that I was in by school at the end in May, I think, in May, and then I moved into this apartment, and I basically just put all of my time and energy into this. Okay, now I'm being asked about your legendary impression.
Oh no. Oh,
so I feel like this is something that needs to be, explored a little bit. So in the Mishmash VC, right? Like every now and then somebody will pop in. I don't even remember when this started, but I was doing voice impressions of people in the chat, and I don't want to break anybody's suspension of disbelief, but they do not sound anything like these people. But just to demonstrate, like for example, if I was doing a voice impression for Nina, it would actually sound something like this. Hello, my name is Nina. I'll have you know that yes, I am a mod. Yes. Or am I? I could be VIP, I could be a mod, I can be whatever I want, because I am Nina Queena and I can do whatever the hell I want. I love it.
And scene.
Wow, that's like Oscar. That's Oscar level impression right there. Are you sure you don't want to pursue acting instead?
You know what's funny? I another impression that I feel really comfortable doing. I think it's Oscar worthy. There's another impression that I do of oh man, it's funny. I get a little bit embarrassed, but I have to. It's of Dom actually, and it's okay. Let me just get into it. So my name is Dom, and I don't want to say that I'm a cool dude because I'm humble, but I'm actually a cool dude, and I'm also still humble, but I'm also really cool. I'm Dom. Insane. Bam.
I thought for a minute, I was like, how did Dom get all the way over there? Like, I thought he was in my closet upstairs. What?
I'm telling you, like, if I wanted to pursue acting, I could go and do it.
Really. All you gotta do is be like, here I am, I'm ready, and do an impression, and they're like, all right, you're hired. Are we sure he's not, Denzel Washington? Same person.
Who knows? All I know is that I'm getting gig after gig after gig. I'm not even worried. Even worried.
Oh yeah, you're booked for the rest of your life.
Oh my god. So that's the kind of stuff that actually, it's funny because one time I was doing those impressions. And Nucci showed up in the voice chat, and was I doing an impersonation of Katie, or I think I was either Katie or Miles? And then Nucci was like, that sounds nothing like them. And then I think I was about to do another impression, and then he just left.
And that was it.
That was it. And I don't think he came back. So either my impressions were like solid, they were spot on, or maybe I should go back and talk to the person and see if they really sound like that.
You know, I think he just doesn't know how to appreciate good art. He was so blown away by the accuracy that he was like, no. I refuse to believe that this wasn't the actual person. So instead I'll say it doesn't sound like them.
Yeah.
It's part of a devious plan, I think, to undermine the art that is your impression.
Insane. So there you go, people.
I love that.
Fun. It's fun to do that because it's like come on, it sounds nothing like them.
I feel like it's also perfect because I've been hearing about them for a while. Like I've when I told Dom that you were going to be on the podcast, he's like, you have to have him do his impressions. And I was super stoked because like I had just heard that they were these amazing impressions, right? Like, and it's just the mystery behind it, the build up, and I feel like it just made it that much more funny, and I appreciate it a lot. Like I enjoyed it.
Oh my god. I should just change my name to Calvin Thomas Impressions.
Yes.
Because that's what we're at.
It's
that's
your
where
specialty.
That's where we're at. Oh boy.
Is that a pizza blanket behind you?
It's funny because I was actually about to say I'm just going to hide in my pizza blanket so that I don't have to do any more impressions. But you are correct. This is a pizza blanket.
I love that.
Hang in this. I'm just gonna hang in this for a little while.
I was looking at getting a blanket like that, but it was a tortilla, so that I could be a little burrito.
Yeah.
Or like wrap up Maui in there and make her like a little burrito.
There's still time.
That's true. Still time. I have a million blankets that I've put all over my apartment for Maui to lay on. So maybe that one will be mine. Yes. Maybe.
Yeah. I'd say go for it. If it's anything as satisfying as this pizza throw blanket, I would say just go for it.
That looks really comfy.
It is.
I feel like my problem with that is that it would make me hungry all the time.
It's probably a good idea to just like not look at it though. And so if you have anything that has like anything that can reflect and show you what's on you, just go ahead and just don't look at that.
Just like
or maybe
be a vampire and avoid mirrors.
Yeah, just avoid it.
Yeah,
Otherwise
absolutely.
You'll get hungry. But yeah, a friend of mine, Adriana.
Oh yeah.
Got this blanket for me for the partner celebration.
Oh nice.
I've had this on my wish list for a while, and at one point I was I'm just gonna go ahead and get this off my wish list.
Yeah.
Because I need this, And then she comes in for the save and gets this blanket. Best thing I've ever had.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's comfy and it looks like pizza. I don't know what more you could want from a blanket.
Yeah. All I need to do now is just make sure I don't have to grab anything, because I have to take my hands out of this comfy blanket and do like this.
You lose some of that airtight, heat seal. Let some of the cold air in. Yeah, you gotta just keep it sealed. Keep the arms. You need like a pizza Snuggie.
Yeah, I was just about to say maybe I should get a pizza Snuggie so I could just I won't have to do all of this.
It's built in. You can walk around. You can wear pizza everywhere you go.
Exactly.
I had an audition once it was like a Tostitos commercial, and it was like for a commercial that was like emoji party, and it was basically they were saying like it was for a whole thing where if you tweeted emojis they'll throw you a Tostitos party or whatever, someone would win. Anyway, so I went to the audition and they said dress up like your favorite emoji, and I was like, I don't look like any emojis really, so I had a pair, like a footy pajama kind of thing that I got from Target it was like pizza. So I just went in there looking like pizza, and the whole audition was like, all right, just dance and eat chips, and I was like, okay.
Okay. Easy enough.
It was a weird time because I ended up, I got cast in that one, and it was like kind of like it was an extra character, and so they had to make everyone look like various emojis, and I ended up being the turkey emoji. So I was in a little turkey suit. It was a weird experience. Someone dressed up like a chicken emoji came over. He's like, "I'm gonna touch your gullet," and I was like, "Please go away."
I feel like that's like one of those oh shoot, I feel like that's, remember The Office, like that one episode, I think it was the second episode, where it's like they all had to get to know each other, and so they had these index cards on their heads.
Yep.
Oh exactly. My God. Like that would explain the kind of person that this person was. Like, I'm gonna touch your gullet. Like, okay, I know what kind of person
that's the identifier right there. I know.
I know who you are.
I was like, are you using the fact that we're both like birds of some sort to be like a opening line there? And so I was just kind of like, okay,
like,
I'm gonna go sit down
I'm gonna
somewhere.
Yeah, you have fun.
You enjoy yourself. I'm gonna go on the other side of the room. If that was like an office setting, I wish there was a camera I could have looked into to be like, what? Like, what is happening? Absolutely gymming the camera. Yes.
Exactly.
Have you seen all the way through The Office?
I've watched a lot of episodes from seasons 1 through 6, and then 7, 8, and 9 I would kind of jump back in and out. And then when I saw the final episode of the entire series, that broke me really.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was a heavy one.
Oh yeah. I cried many tears. Many tears.
Man. Yeah. And then the episode where Michael left, like at the very end, you had Pam who was trying to get to him, and then there was no audio between either one of them. They weren't really talking to each other. It was just they just hugged, and then he was on his way.
I got chills when you talking about it. Like,
that scene is heavy.
Oh my gosh.
Heavy.
Well, especially because it all relies on just body language too. Like, you take out the audio there, it's just about the sentiment between the characters, and also the fact that apparently the scene with Jim and Michael in his office, apparently they were having such a hard time filming it without just like sobbing, and like that's the thing that also makes it like that more like, oh, like watching it so hard, knowing that like, because it's also they work together in a crew, and so like this is like it working together for the most part, because Steve Carell's gonna go do his own thing, and just to know that they genuinely felt that emotional, like just a gut punch.
That was a huge gut punch. Yeah, it's like it's some of the scenes, they looked like, how would you be able to tell which scene was scripted and which scene was real?
Oh yeah, that's what
especially
I like
after
about
finding that stuff out. Like, that they had such a connection.
Like those kind of shows, they do such a good job at making it look like it's all just like life. Like it's just a camera crew filming people just living their life. I mean, obviously, the situations they get into are hopefully more ridiculous than what happens in real life, but it's I think they also allow for a little bit of improv in the those kind of shows too. But
son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, that one cracks me up. It's just the timing on everything. The thing that's hard for me though is watching comedy shows like that. I get secondhand embarrassment during like the awkward, uncomfortable kind of situations. And so it hurt, like Scott's Tots episode, like I just like oh my god, like no. I just like curl up into a ball. I can't watch it.
That one was a tough one to watch.
Yeah, I skipped that one.
That one's a tough one to watch. Yeah, and then like there were some moments, like I know for me personally, like the Jim and Pam moments, like some of them were really heartwarming and really like inspiring to watch. And then there were the moments where it's like, okay, like I know it's happening, but I can't watch this part because I already know what's going to happen and I don't want to see the result, Yeah. Like it's stuff like that where it's like
yeah, it's one of those like once you know what's gonna happen, it's so hard to watch it because like I find myself still in the moment being like, maybe it'll be different. Like maybe this time it'll be like, I know it's the same thing. They haven't changed anything, but maybe something different will happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It never. Something different never happens. Maybe one day.
The show will be like, gotcha. Gotcha. Go ahead and feel sad now.
Yeah. Now you can cry.
Now you can cry.
I don't need permission. I cry on my own.
Man, that show was so good.
Yeah.
Love
it's
it.
a pretty solid. I don't know. It's just wild to me. Just like, I remember when I first started watching it, like in the first couple of episodes, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, because it's a lot of like high level cringe too, just from the get go, and you also haven't come to know and like the characters as much yet. And I feel like once you get to know them, then all the like it's still awkward and it's still a lot of like but like you like the characters a little bit more, and you thank God you grow to like Michael a little bit more, because in the beginning that was the hardest part for me, I think.
He tries way too hard not to be himself, and then he ends up being himself at the end of the day, and it's like, dude, just stop. Like, why are you the way you are?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you the way? Yeah.
Why are you the way you are?
I feel like one of my favorite characters of the show is probably Creed, though, because he's always just doing this or that in the background, and I've gone through and rewatched episodes just kind of watching him, and it honestly cracks me up because he's still doing him. Just, oh my gosh.
There was that one scene where I think it was like a later season with oh man, who was the secretary that replaced Pam? I'm drawing
Aaron, I think.
Aaron, yeah. And she was dating, or at least she dated. He was the taller guy in later season.
Gabe.
He was Gabe. Yes. Okay. So Gabe was trying to get back with Aaron, right? And so he went into the women's bathroom to try to talk to her, and then Creed just came out of one of the stalls like, don't mind me.
Just casually, yeah.
I'm like, Creed, what are you doing, man?
And he's just like,
I guess
just a normal
once you
day
get
for
to
him.
that point, yeah, exactly. It's like, why would you expect anything less? But that was so funny when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, come on, Creed, really? Yeah,
it's just the little things. I think one of my favorite episodes is, it's the one where at the beginning, I think it's called Fire Safety. It's where Dwight lights all the firecrackers in the trash can on fire, and then everybody, he like locks all the doors, and everybody is screaming, everybody is freaking out, and there's a still that you can find of Creed just like, and like you can see Oscar's foot coming through the ceiling, like that whole episode, because they go from that to the CPR safety where they're trying to save, like doing CPR on the dummy, and then they just start singing, and then Dwight cuts it open, and that episode cracks me up every single time.
That episode is, I think if you were to do like a study of The Office, that could be one of the episodes, as well as that you could do like an overall study for, as well as like, I guess just anything with Michael, really.
Oh my gosh.
Anything with Michael, really.
It's crazy because the character of Michael is like a character that Steve Carell had been workshopping for years. Like, because he's such a character-based actor. He'd been workshopping that kind of character, I think, for so long, which is also wild because he didn't start getting cast and stuff until he was, a little bit older. But yeah, no, he had a good grasp on who he wanted Michael to be, because he is a distinct character. Yeah, Steve Carell definitely comes through with his roles, and this was definitely one of them for sure. Iconic for sure. Also, I saw Mark in the chat. Hi, Mark. Oh, thank you for shouting Mark out. How are you doing? It's good to see you. He said dinner party? Yes, this is a dinner party. I don't have I don't have a food blanket, but I'm gonna get the burrito blanket after this, I think. 'Cause
Yes.
I need a food blanket.
Grab it.
I'm writing myself a note.
Disappointed. You will not be disappointed.
I think it's something that I've also been looking at for a while. So I think that oh, you meant the office dinner party. Oh my god, no, he was talking about dinner party.
Oh.
Oh my god, I've seen the bloopers for that episode, and it cracks me up. There's the part where Michael, he's like, that is a whatever plasma screen TV, or he's like, it just folds right back into the wall, and he just pushes it like an inch.
Oh my god. They couldn't get any of their lines. They couldn't get any of their lines. None.
Oh my god, yeah. I think that would, if I were to do a comedy type of show like that, my biggest issue would be breaking all the time. Like, how do you stay serious in something that's that funny?
Like, wasn't there a part of the bloopers where it's like the TV just fell off the arm? Like, it fell off the mount that it was on?
I think so. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Or like when Jan starts playing the music by her like assistant Hunter or whatever, and like they're all just sitting there, and she's just like holding her wine and dancing, and oh my gosh.
That episode was amazing, especially if you like juxtapose two of them together to where you see the episode and the bloopers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Totally different.
Especially, once you know, just like that they had as hard of a time like keeping it together, especially given how awkward a lot of that was.
Yeah.
Like, you just, if you think about that in like real life, like if you were at that dinner party,
it's like, ugh.
When Jim like tries to leave and they're like, oh, but Pam can stay, and he's just like, yep.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna stay too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, and Pam just wants to eat. The whole time she's there, she just wants some food.
Yeah.
Which, that's a big mood. If I went to a dinner party and they're like, okay, the food won't be ready for a couple hours, I'd be like,
so
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, we have no food. You have no food? Yeah, that would be a bit of an issue. That'd be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I'd be a little disgruntled.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the absolute least.
Yeah. You can buy new stuff, but you can't buy a new party.
Oh my god.
Oh wow, that line. Yeah, that line was funny.
Or when Dwight and Angela are talking, and he's like, "You love my beet salad." Like the whole exchange between the two of them.
Why were they even invited though?
I don't know if they were. I know because Jim and Pam, because Michael wanted Jim and Pam to go to do dinner with him and Jan for a really, really long time, and they kept avoiding. And then I think maybe it was Angela and was she with Andy at that point? Maybe they were invited, and then Dwight didn't get invited, so he brought his babysitter. I think I could be misremembering, but I think maybe that's what happened.
Oh wait, I think that might have been the case, because Angela didn't want to do anything with Dwight, I guess romantically rather, but Dwight showed up anyway. Yeah,
because I remember they had said, oh, we don't have enough wine glasses, so he shows up with wine glasses, being like now there are enough wine glasses, but oh my gosh. That's one of those that it's a cringy episode, but it's funny enough that I can watch it. Scott's Tots I refuse to watch because it hurts. It hurts to watch. He shows up with computer batteries or something, and ooh.
Yeah, that was a rough.
That I think I can refer to as the type of cringy comedy that I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, because I mean, you're gonna have at least one episode of of a comedy or just a TV show where it's like, you know, I really wish they hadn't made that.
Yeah.
I wish they hadn't made that episode.
I get it in that it's in line with Michael's character. Like, that's the kind of thing that Michael absolutely would have done. But I just, watching it, I just like recede into like a little roly-poly ball the whole time and like cover my eyes. That's one where it's like, maybe something will change. Maybe it'll be different this time.
And the show is like, no, you're going to stay here and watch this cringe, and you're gonna love it.
You're gonna know that it's gonna be cringe, and you're gonna absolutely wish that it doesn't happen, but it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen,
and you're gonna watch it every second. Oh my gosh! Or when Toby puts his hand on Pam's leg, that moment where it's like,
no, Toby, no.
Yeah.
Toby, no. What are you doing?
Or he does that,
Toby?
and then he immediately is like, I'm gonna hop the fence, and just goes. Or he's like, I've been thinking about moving to Costa Rica for a while now.
Yeah.
Apparently he was a writer on the show, and he hated being on the show. Like he didn't like having stuff written for his character, because I guess it just being on it. Yeah, a lot of, I think, like, writers were on it. But so Mindy Kaling wrote a lot for his character, because I mean, he does funny, cringy stuff. So
wow. Yeah, I knew that Ryan's character was one of the writers, and I think I had read somewhere that Mindy Kaling was also one of the writers as well.
I read,
but I didn't know that Toby was a part of the writing team.
Yeah, I think his name's like Paul Lieberman, maybe. But yeah, I read Mindy Kaling's book, and so she was writing about like some of the stuff like that, or how she was so against the Kevin spilling his chili scene.
That was a great scene.
She argued against it. Apparently, she was like, I can admit that it's a good scene now, like, you know, but she apparently in the writer's room is like, no one's gonna think that's funny. But it became such an iconic part from it. Just he picks up a little like folder thing and starts trying to scoop it back. I just can't imagine, like, they must have installed temporary carpet, because that would have stained, that chili would have stained the heck out of the carpet. They would have smelled
that for weeks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it was a giant pot too.
It was a massive pot of chili. Kelsey says the scene makes her sad.
You could see that he was trying to hold it, but he knew he couldn't hold it for much longer.
It's just, you watch it all fall apart, and then he's just Kevin. It's bad to laugh at this, but it's just the desperation with which he tries to scoop it all and put it back. Oh my gosh. It's that scene is it's a good one. It's a good one. That show, I've watched it a bunch of times. I went through a phase where I just kept playing it on repeat as background noise. So like I know the moments pretty well. Like I do that I'll go through like phases with a show where I'll watch it over and over, but I'll just play it in the background while I'm doing stuff. So I know a lot of the moments from The Office. I did it with that and like Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers. Oh man, so many moments for memes. So many opportunities for memes.
Oh yes.
So many.
I was gonna say Tina is my spirit animal.
Tina's just like Tina is definitely keeping the rest of the siblings in order, but like still, like Tina, come on, you could maybe be a bit more expressive, you know? Yeah.
The only thing she gets expressive about is like horses and also butts. So you know, everybody has their thing, I guess.
Just you know, just normal stuff, you know?
Yeah, pretty normal average stuff.
Normal stuff.
Do you have any other, I guess, like TV shows that you're into, passionate about, you know, would rewatch kind of thing?
You know, actually it's been a lot of the I guess the like some of the hype shows, really, like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Now granted, there are seasons I would go back and watch, and then there were seasons that I would stay away from. But I think one of the main shows that I've been watching is Attack on Titan, really.
Okay, I've heard a lot about that recently. I think they're still releasing new episodes right now.
They have already started their final season.
Okay, gotcha.
But the manga is also really, really cool to read as well. It's fantastic stuff. You know what I mean? There's so much, like, the way that the characters have been fleshed out. Like, it isn't like anything I've ever seen in any manga that I've read. And I haven't read a whole lot of manga, but from the ones that I did read, I haven't seen characters fleshed out like that. It's so beautiful. And the realism of it all, while also still being a work of, like, a spectacle, how it balances between the two, spectacle and realism, and it's fantastic stuff. So I love it. Although I'm a little behind on the show itself. I've been keeping up with the manga, so I have an idea of what's going to happen. But yeah, I've been on Attack on Titan for years, and sadly it's coming to a close. But I would go back and rewatch the show over again. I'd go back and reread the manga, just because it's just so awesome, you know.
Yeah, that's one of those that I haven't ever watched any anime, but that's one that I've heard is a good one.
Yeah.
So is that on, like, where could you watch that?
Probably Crunchyroll. You could probably find these episodes on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Maybe the manga too.
Okay.
I haven't tried that.
I kind of want to check it out, because I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I think also since it is they're in their last season right now, I think people are, you know, talking about it a little bit more right now, at least in areas that I've seen. But it looks like something that I definitely kind of want to check out, because I've heard really good things about it.
I've also been meaning to go back to check out, like, older shows, maybe not super old, but like maybe late 2000s, early 2010 shows. Like, there was one that used to come on Fox, I think, called Raising Hope. And that was a really fun show to watch. It was basically about this baby Hope and the family that would help her grow into who she would be soon. And actually, I guess they focused more on the family more so than Hope. The family, they were super dysfunctional.
Wait,
but,
did you say Raising Hope?
Raising Hope. Yeah.
I think I remember that. I think I remember that show. I think I used to watch that. I don't remember if I stopped watching, but I think I watched, like, the first season of that. It was so long ago that I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, it's.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, dysfunctional for sure.
Yeah, the grandma who's Mama.
Yeah.
She would like have moments where she would remember certain things about the family, and then she would also end up, like, zoning back out to where it was just her. And they'd have to take care of her, and then you had the mom and the dad, who were just as problematic as their son, who wasn't really inspired, you know. But you know, when he became a dad, that's when all of that started to change, and it's just really, really cool seeing all of that.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it in forever.
Yeah,
but that's one of the shows I've been meaning to go back.
I was gonna say I remember watching at least the first few episodes, because I remember the name and I remember, like, bits and pieces. But yeah, wow, that's a throwback. Oh, hello, Maui. She decided she wanted attention.
I guess it was about that time.
Yeah, I know.
Maui was like, oh, it is time.
It's precisely pet o'clock right now.
Exactly.
So let me pet her for a little bit and then decide that she's over it. Oh, I like your Twitch pillow back there. I've got mine chilling back there. It's a nice little thing.
Yes. Yeah, because I was like, where am I going to put this Twitch pillow? You know, I had it in a couple of places. I had it like on the other side of the room at one point. I did have it resting on my drum set. But I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead, put it right back there, because
it's a nice
it just
spot.
Works.
And, like, it stands out against the black background too, so it's nice. I like it.
Now yours, on the other hand,
it's
yours pretty much. I think does it blend with the neon lights and the kind of
a little bit. And
Okay.
I end up covering it a lot. I had it when I was in the other house that I was in. I always set it back on the center of my bed because my computer was kind of crunched into the corner in my room by where my bed was, and so I just kind of, it was easier to see it then. But then when I was decorating everything here, I'm like, I don't know where to put it that like it'll be seen well, because the one thing about this space is that it's like a lot deeper than where I was before, so I had to kind of try to decorate for the depth of it. And so now it's more like a Where's Waldo of, can you spot it right now, or is it completely hidden?
But one thing that I've also noticed is that the stuff that you have like to the right of you, or to the right of you,
Yes.
like your gauntlet and all that, like they kind of fill empty spaces, so that there aren't any. I don't know if that was intentional, but I noticed that because I'm trying to fill the empty spaces in my studio, because like I need to have something in those spots.
Yeah,
you know,
it was
I need
like
to have something there.
trying to figure out what to do to kind of like take up some of the space, because when I first moved, I have some of the streams from when I first moved, it was so empty. Like it was just like the way that everything looked, because I didn't have anything up, I didn't really have a ton of furniture at that point. Like it was just like white wall, and like it just looked like this big empty space. So I filled it with, you know, I put like the lamp and like I did some lights to kind of fill it. But that was definitely a big challenge, trying to reorganize and figure out what I wanted. And I ended up with, you know, my hot dog man plush. And my, you know, super realistic Infinity Gauntlet.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. You know, you've got the gauntlet there.
Yeah, I mean, if I need to do anything, if I need to, someone gets on my nerves, I'll Infinity Gauntlet them.
Exactly.
Before I
like,
ban people, I need to start just putting on my gauntlet and just
like,
and then ban
like,
them.
don't make me do it.
Yeah,
don't make me do
I'll
it.
do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Right before I ban them.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so I try to, like, when I move stuff around in my studio a lot, and at times I'm satisfied with my setup, and then other times I'm like, cool, so I'm gonna go ahead and move everything.
Yep. You get those moments where you're like, what if I just changed everything?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take everything that I can literally put my eyeballs on, and I'm going to just maybe shift it all. It's gonna take about 2 hours with stuff I already need to do, responsible things, but I'm gonna move this stuff around, and 2 hours later I should be happy. And if I'm not, then we'll just spend another 2 hours putting it back.
Oh, absolutely. That's always the worst part, where you like just spent a bunch of time rearranging everything only to realize it was better off the other way. Now he's on the keyboard now. Maui, maybe go sit on your bed instead of on my mouse.
She's like, you don't understand.
She's like, anywhere is my bed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm going to. Oh, actually, we have a question. I was going to ask if anyone in chat had anything that they wanted to ask. But Fuji asked your preferred DAW for music. Is it just, do you say DAW? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's basically like a digital audio workstation. So basically it's just like this recording software like Audacity, Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, Studio One, things like that you can use. I would say Cubase is my favorite. Cubase is my favorite because I've used like artists, like I guess beginner to intermediate versions of Studio One and of Reaper and a few others. I've even used free software like Audacity. I still use that today, but my favorite one is Cubase because I think it's such a versatile platform for a PC. Studio One is also pretty versatile when you use all the presets and sounds in them, but when it comes to using Cubase, you have a little bit more control over the versatility to where it can look like it's super complex, but that's only because they're giving you all these features that you can use at your disposal, so that when you get super professional, it's like, it's kind of like if you're wearing heavy training gear, and you're just working out and all of that, and then you finally take it off, and you're like, I can pretty much do anything now because I was training in that heavy training gear. So I think that's what Cubase is like. It looks complex on the surface, compared to maybe like Studio One or Audacity or Reaper maybe, but I think at the end of the day, it just feels better because you have all these presets. And then, as a, I guess, personal preference, they have drum presets in there that sound super accurate, and I think that is a testament to what Yamaha can do, because Yamaha owns Steinberg, the ones that built Cubase, and it's just they put so much effort into their work. Like, I've got a Yamaha digital piano, I've got a Yamaha guitar, I've got Yamaha mixer. I've got a lot of Yamaha stuff here, and I really like what they do. And going back to Cubase, they put just as much of that effort into Cubase as they do their instruments. So Cubase, yeah, it's definitely my favorite one for sure.
Mark asked if you've ever played in a band.
I don't want to say yes, but I don't want to say no either. The reason why is because there was one time where I was in DC, and there was somebody who was like, we need a guitarist, we're gonna play some gigs, and we have a gig coming up. And so I went there for a rehearsal to play some stuff, and I they had already been an established band, and I got a chance to play along with them, but it didn't last for very long. I only did one rehearsal with them, and then that was pretty much it. And then another time where a buddy of mine, Mike Richards, and a friend of his, Bird, we would all play music at different bars and breweries and stuff, but it wasn't really a band. It was more like they were contacting Mike, and then they were like, can you get two more people, one more person, two more people? So it was more like, I guess I don't want to say a group of musicians, because that's a band, but we weren't officially a band. We were just, we got together and we played stuff, even though I guess we could be a band. So I guess no.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, it's yes, but no,
it's complicated.
Maybe. Okay, maybe I'll just say yes and call it a day, because there was more than one person, In
the textbook definition of a band, you played in a band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. I wish I had that at my disposal, so I can just do like this, put this into my head, boom. Yes.
Hey, someday when we can throw ideas around, it'll be easier.
Exactly.
Yeah, just you got it.
Yeah.
Cowboy asked, Coke or Pepsi?
Ooh, that sounds like that war is never going to end.
Yeah.
I personally I've gone back and forth between both, but if I had to really choose one, probably Coke. I'm hoping down the line I don't say Pepsi and contradict myself, but because I feel like that might happen, just because sometimes I forget some pretty big things. But I would have to say Coke. I think in terms of it not being super sugary as Pepsi, but also still being sugary enough to be considered, high fructose corn syrup in a 2-liter bottle. It's enough. It's enough for me. So yeah, I'd say Coke.
Yeah, I feel like I fluctuate depending on my mood. Both of them are good. It just kind of depends on what I feel like in the moment.
Yeah.
Fieldman asked, what instrument was the most fun or enjoyable when learning how to play?
I would say guitar, mostly because it is where I got a chance to learn songs from some of my favorite artists like Jimi Hendrix, and Eric Clapton and Andy McKee, and and then heavier bands like rock band Alter Bridge, and a band that isn't really too widely known, Trust Company, and then even heavier than that, metal bands like Killswitch Engage and Soilwork and In This Moment. And then just it allowed me to do so much off of that one guitar, like that one instrument allowed me to do so much, to range from playing melodies to playing rhythms to playing both melody and rhythm. It's a really versatile instrument, and I think before I really got comfortable playing piano, that feeling of versatility, which was important to me, I found on guitar. And so that was just another thing that made it super appealing. And then also I got to play some rock tunes and stuff on it, so that was another added bonus. But yeah, guitar definitely. And then it's also you can take it anywhere, really.
Oh yeah, it's a lot easier to move around. My friend that I mentioned, who does music stuff, she and her boyfriend have been doing, they did music together, played some gigs before pandemic, and she got like this nice keyboard, but it was a big keyboard, and it was always a process getting it back into its case and getting all the all the cables and all of the everything, the stand, and it was just such a process to get it to and from wherever she went. Whereas guitar, a little bit easier, a little bit lighter to get around. It's meant to be held, so easier to move around.
Yeah, definitely. There was one time I was doing an open mic, and after I played my segment, then there was another musician who would come right after me, and she was setting up her digital piano, and it was a pretty big digital piano, and just by the time she was done setting all that stuff up, it had already been like 5 minutes 5 minutes to set up all of that stuff, the piano, the stand, connecting it to the mixing board, and getting the set list together, and then connecting the sustain pedal and all that stuff. 5 minutes, maybe a little longer. And I'm like, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. But more power to you.
Dom asked, what is your favorite game? And if that's too difficult, maybe top 5.
Oh man. Okay. So one of my favorite games as of right now is Detroit Become Human.
Oh my God, good game.
I love that game. I love that game so much. It's gotten to the point where, like, I would sometimes say that I'm Kara, or I'm Marcus, or I'm Connor, because
the characters in that game are so good.
Really fleshed out characters. And then also you have the supporting cast, which is just as good. Like, they really put a lot of, and you can tell they really put a lot of effort into this game.
The amount of storylines and possibilities, like,
okay, so there are still some decisions that I haven't made for certain characters, because
you have to do just the right string of progression.
Yeah, exactly. And then planning. I also don't want to see my characters get killed off.
Yes.
Like, come on, I know it's a part of the story, but don't make me do this after I've gotten so attached to them. You know what I mean? Don't make me do this.
I accidentally got Connor killed twice, and I was devastated. I got Luther killed, and I went back. I was like, I'm gonna go replay this segment so he doesn't die. I was so everybody was like also giving me shit in chat because they're like, you killed him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I didn't know that I didn't make the right decision in this moment. Like, oh my God, I got so stressed because I'm so bad at the you have like a split second to make a decision kind of thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, one of the times towards the end of the game, I got Connor killed. I went back and replayed that section too, but because also it was just all the quick time if you don't hit it in the right amount of time, like, and I was just a mess. I was like, I got him killed. Like, I was so, oh my gosh, I was so upset. It was, yeah.
And then when you find those endings, you find those decisions that lead you to new scenarios that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
You're like, this could be fantastic, or this could be devastating.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know how to feel.
And you have to make the right choice. Like, I just think about one of the storylines where I think Kara's on the boat with Alice, and they're like running away or something, and you have the option to like lock someone out or like let them in or whatever, and like I'm like, am I doing the right thing? And it would always be like, I would pick something and be like, I've just made the wrong decision, everyone's gonna die, and then like it's fine, but I don't know that until you don't know until you know.
Until actually, yeah, it's rough. It's
rough.
rough.
It's a good like the amount of work and planning that went into that game is absolutely insane. Like it stressed the crap out of me because it's, you know, a lot of like quick decision making, which in life I am not good at either. So
yeah, because I mean, man, because it kind of makes you it makes you think like, what would you do in a situation like that?
mm-hmm.
when you're able to put yourself into the minds of those characters, would you make that same decision that they make?
Exactly.
You know, if you were an android and you didn't have the same kind of respect that a human would have talking to another human being, would that be the action that you would take, knowing that the consequences will probably be something, you know, devastating?
It's an interesting it's a game because it brings you to empathize with the characters too, which I think is also, I don't know, like I think it's one of those that people, you know, people give video games a lot of flack. They're like, oh, you're just shooting and killing people, blah blah blah, it's so bad for your, you know, which, you know, I don't agree with that either, but you know, it's like this game is such an empathetic experience too, because you get so, I mean, at least I know I got so drawn into it that if a character died, I had to stop for a minute because I was crying and I felt terrible, you know, like it's so fascinating that you can bring such human experience through a video game like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. David Cage, the guy behind that game and Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, and I think there was another game that he made, Fahrenheit something. It had a different name in the States, but or in where anyway, the way that he constructs his stories, they're ultimately made for the character, and the character is ultimately supposed to connect to you in some sort of way. And the way that he does it is just fantastic every time. I feel like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls and Detroit Become Human were all fantastic games because the characters were the ones that were pushing the story forward.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you were too.
Yeah.
Compared to the plot pulling everyone, the characters and all that stuff.
It's so human-centered almost, because it's all about this person and you as that person. That's so interesting. Yeah, I've had Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls recommended for me as well. I'm doing Until Dawn right now, which is basically just like a scary Detroit, and I flew out of my chair at one point.
I haven't had a chance to play the game yet, but I kind of like took the easy road and watched the cutscenes and also watched some playthroughs, and I'll totally see what you mean.
I'm not a horror like game person. Like I played through Outlast and Whistleblower because I said that I would. It took me like 6 months to do the first, because like I don't do horror movies, and so horror games is like just living a horror movie almost, because you're the person. But so I finally played through that. But Until Dawn, I've actually enjoyed story. Like once I got over the scare aspect of Outlast, it wasn't as bad. It's still terrifying, and like Until Dawn, still a lot of terrifying. You know, for me, it's more the quick response kind of stuff that gets me. But the story of it's actually pretty interesting, and it reminds me of the way, I think it was Fieldman who explained it to me. It's basically Until Dawn, or it's basically Detroit but scary, and it's pretty true to it. It's just I'm easily scared. So
yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of horror movies either, or played a lot of horror games. I mean, the only horror games that I could truly say that I've played through completely is Resident Evil 5, and then I think maybe bits and pieces of Resident Evil 6. But compared to like, Until Dawn or anything that's a level up above that in terms of horror, I'm like, nah, no thanks.
Probably for the best.
I've also watched Saw, and that's about as far as I've gone in terms of horror flicks. Saw 5 and Saw 2. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
but that's pretty much it.
I've only played horror games because stream demanded it of me. So I there's no other reason for me to watch a horror movie, so I pretty much refuse to do that. I'm like, life is scary enough. I don't need additional, manufactured scare in my life.
Yeah. How about we watch something else?
Yeah,
guys?
let's watch Disney, like a feel good happy movie or something.
Yeah.
Fuji asked, do you mess with electronic hardware, synthesizers, etc.?
No, but I'm like, I've always wondered how they work, because I would see a lot of people like use synthesizers and things and how they would make them their own, and I'm like, man, it looks like it takes a lot of work, because you have these synthesizers and you have all of these panels to choose from and all these switches to work with, and I'm like, man, that all looks really cool, but it also looks really confusing. I feel like I might end up hurting myself trying to use one of those things. But yeah, I've been interested in them. There's a lot going on, but I mean, it does look really interesting. I have to say that
Fuji also asked, have you ever tried playing, I don't know, I'm going to say this incorrectly, but theremin?
Theremin? Oh, no, I haven't, but I'd like to at some point. Apparently, there are electronic theremins too. If I'm thinking of the same, actually, no. Theremin is electronic. Yeah. So basically, how it works is, you would have this device, and then it's giving off a type of like frequency from what it looks like, and you would take your hand or whatever. And as you move around the device that's spitting out the frequency and things, it would change the sound. So, like, for example, if you have it like placed here on your desk and it was on, and you started moving your hand, and then it would depending on where you move it, it would be like a like
interesting.
It's like a MIDI kind of sound, but I guess in real time. There's a streamer here who used to go by Theraminist. I'm drawing a blank on what his name is now. Please don't kill me. But he is all about using the theremin, and you can see it at work, and it's just really, really crazy stuff.
That's super cool. Like, I haven't ever heard of that before. So yeah. I learned something new today.
Yeah. You should also look up a hurdy-gurdy too. I don't know if
I have heard of that. I have heard of it, but I can't remember what it is. I feel like my friend said something about it after class one day, and I remember thinking that sounds strange, but I don't remember what it is.
I've never had a chance to use one of those, but I'd like to, because it just, the way that it sounds, it's kind of like, you would hear it. It's like a giant unit, and you would spin like this arm, and the arm would cause a number of things in the hurdy-gurdy to eventually work. And then I think there's also something that another panel that you would kind of play on to make the sounds change and things, from what I can remember. People in the chat might correct me though. But yeah, I'd like to use one of those at some point, just to say that I've used it.
Yeah, just to have the experience.
Yeah. I've played on a hurdy-gurdy before, people. You don't even know.
That's like a fun conversation starter, because people will be like, non-music people at least would be like, you've what, huh?
You'll be like, is that some kind of food?
Like, is that slang that I should know? That's my immediate thought, because I don't know most youth slang, so I'll hear something and be like, what? Like, I have to go immediately to Urban Dictionary to figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
Let's see. Juice Infinity asked, what's one song that makes you want to play music every time you hear it?
I was not prepared for that. Hold please. Okay. So I would say there's a song. Wow, there are a lot of songs. Okay, how about I just choose one? There's a song called Wave. It's called Wave by Tom Jobim, and it's a bossa nova tune. It's one of the like most widely known bossa nova tunes like ever. And hearing that, it's just it's a song that really calms you down, but then it also appeals to the music nerd in me, you know. So I don't even know if you'd be able to hear just too well, but basically there's one part that goes like ba, ba, da, 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 dee, da, da, dee, da, ba, da, dee, da, dee, da, dee, da, da, dee, da. Like all of these different changes are happening in an instant, and you're like, man, that sounds really good and it feels really good. And it's just, I don't know, I guess that's just one out of many tunes. But yeah, just I love I love chord changes in songs. It's just all the color that comes from it just ultimately sounds and feels good. And that song Wave is one of those tunes where it's like, I gotta pick up my guitar. I just gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Grave the Dude asked if you prefer acoustic or electric.
I'd say acoustic, mostly because there are a lot of musicians that I listen to that have taken the acoustic guitar and made it more than just a giant like wooden thing, you know, instead of just having something to where you could, you know, just take your guitar and your pick and just start strumming, you know, play some chords here and there. Musicians, guitarists have found a way to take chords and arpeggiate them, which basically means to break them down individually, note for note, and make patterns out of them. So like you have this C major, you'll have this C major chord, you know, if you strum it all in one thing, you got the C major chord here. But if you arpeggiate the chord, you can do stuff like, and then you can do that with other chords. So it's just really cool. And then also you could so you're playing the melody, but you're also playing the rhythm, stuff like that. And then there's a lot of other cool things you can do on acoustic that just is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
The fact that I could see all that stuff done blew my mind. So definitely acoustic guitar for sure. Yeah.
That was awesome. I have been trying to learn the ukulele back and forth, and I can't move my hands for crap. I'm so bad at it. So I was just watching you doing that so effortlessly. I was like, holy cow. And it was so, I was like, just a brief moment of like peace and serenity in my life just from that one little musical interlude.
I think one thing that really helps with playing chords is trying to find ways to change them up so that they don't all sound the same all the time. And like when you are, it's kind of like with piano too. With piano, you can play, I guess, 3 versions of a chord. So you have this chord, your C major, and then you have this first inversion. It's the same chord, but you're playing with higher notes, octaves. And then you have a second inversion, which is even higher than that. And you can just play around with all those chords and you can make something pretty unique. Yeah. My sustain pedal's weird sometimes. It's like, sometimes I want to work and sometimes I don't, but that's okay because I'm a sustain pedal. So and then with the arpeggiating chords again, you can do just adds more color to the song.
Yeah.
So it's just it's fun. It's really fun to do this kind of stuff. And that's all like arpeggiated chords, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
so. It's the way that you explained it is like adding color to it, and it's that's exactly what I would not have thought to word it that way, but that's exactly what it is. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I love it.
It's really fun stuff. It's really, really fun. And then when we were talking about movie scores earlier, like that's what they do. In fact, you might have heard a progression like that before, where it's like. In fact, when the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. So like that.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
The progressions pop up all over the place, and that's a pretty popular one to use. So, and then you also have stuff like. How's it go? It's that what's the one? Symphony by Zara. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on the last name, but that kind of progression was also really popular in the 2010s with EDM and stuff like that. That one progression right there.
Yeah.
So it's just that stuff. I could go on and on about this.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a little treat here today just to get some of your music. It's amazing. Oh my god. I swear, every time I hear it, I'm just like I sit there in awe. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, by the way. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, I just love working with these different chord voicings because like the more color that you can create in your music, the more people will remember it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Actually, Juice had asked if you have a favorite type of chord voicing.
Probably this one. So there's a song called "The Spirit Carries On" by Dream Theater, and it starts off where it's like, where do we come from? Why are we here? This chord right here. It's a D major chord. It's a D major chord, but it is a first inversion D major chord. So it reshapes the D major chord and it makes it a little bit more expressive. So it's like, where do we come? Yeah, exactly. It's a D over an F sharp. So when you listen to like if you weren't singing along with it, it would sound like. And then there's more stuff. I've also found that I really like chord progressions that you would hear in classical music or theater, you know? Um, like, what's another one? Uh, where dynamics are a key.
Yeah.
Their key function and making it sound super, I guess, in lack of a better word, dramatic. And a lack of another better word, theatrical. But yeah, the stuff like that, or anything, or pretty much like Phantom of the Opera. Just that huge contrast between this da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, I'm back.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's
yeah.
I zone out a little bit. I'm just enjoying, and I enjoy getting to see kind of like how, you know, like the way that your hands move and like play, because that's something that I think is also really fascinating that I've come to appreciate. My friend that I mentioned does piano, so I went to go see her piano recitals at school, and just like also the way that the musician interacts with the piano has also been kind of fascinating to me, because everyone's a little bit different, but there's definitely that connection there, and I think it's so, I don't know, it's very interesting and kind of exciting to see that as a part of the music.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I think I might have brought it up earlier, but like I would end up playing a song and adding it to my looper, and then I would forget that I was doing a live stream, and I'm like, oh, I gotta right, I gotta get back to it. Gotta get back to this live stream. But yeah, it's just really cool. It's really cool to take all of this and then just do whatever I want with it.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I know poet mentioned soul, but when the way that you talk about being in the zone, it just makes me think of, you know, they talk a lot about just being in the zone, and
that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's something that my dad brought up a lot, actually, because he mentioned that it's important to learn the music theory, and it's important to know the instrument you're playing on, but when you have to get in the zone, you know, whether that's soloing, definitely for soloing, or if it's just feeling the music and feeling when the changes are going to happen, and you know, all that, you know, you kind of have to just, I really wish there were a scientific empirical way of explaining this, but you kind of just have to feel it, you know, you kind of have to know, but also not know at the same time, and just kind of go for it.
Yeah.
And soloing is definitely one of those things you have to get in the zone for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like it's hard because you can't overthink it, but you have to be thinking and ready, but you can't, if you think too much, it's like that weird balance of like this amount of attention and this amount of just like doing it. And
yeah, that's the tricky part, really, and that's what takes the most practice, you know, trying to take all of the solos, all of the theory that you've learned, you know, diminished and augmented and major and minor and seventh, all that wonderful stuff, and putting it into something that's not a bunch of gobbledygook, you know, something that people will be like, hey, yeah, I like this. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah. In fact, it might even get to a point where they're like, wait, was that a minor seventh? And you're like,
you got it.
Hey, we need to talk. But yeah, it's just, you kind of have to, in lack of sounding a bit cliche, you know, you have to kind of be one with your instrument, you know?
Yeah.
And that's something that makes it easier for you to access all of that stuff up here.
Yeah.
So that you can play your solo, melody, rhythm, whatever.
It's so crazy. I mean, it's one of those, like, the whole, what is it? Success is like something like opportunity plus preparation or something. But I feel like so much of art is that, like, you spend so much time training to know all of the technical things, and you have to put a lot of time into training to know that kind of stuff. And then all of it, it's like, I don't know, it makes me think of like getting ready to do it like a theater performance or acting. Like, you have the blocking that you have to know, have to know the lines, you have to know the emotion behind it, you have to know all of these things. But when you go to do it, you have to throw all of that out the window, basically. Like, the way that my professor would always word it is like 98% of you is in this moment living it, but 2% of you is a technician remembering, I have to move here, I have to do this. And so it's like about balancing that. Like, most of you is in it because most of you has to be in it, but you have to have that like little 2% of your mind that remembers all of the details to it, which I think is so, basically you have to put in all that work so that you can do something so free and open, like knowing the rules so you can know how to break them, kind of thing.
I mean, that pretty much said it all, honestly. And I think I imagine that could probably apply to any type of content you make, or any type of skill that you have, you know, because at the end of the day, you have all of these things about this one skill or this piece of content that you might know of, but when you're trying to communicate it to somebody else, what parts are they going to take away from it, and what do you want them to take away from it? And trying to find the best way to communicate all of that is the trickiest part, because not everybody's going to know what a B13 chord is, but in terms of how it made you feel, like how it transitioned from that one point in the song to the next, and how the feeling changed as well, because that's what happens. Like when you're playing something like this, where is it? This chord here, and then you go back to, so bum 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 bum. You know it's going to go back to this, but the way that it does it, it's like, man, that felt really good.
Yeah.
So just, trying to communicate it the best way possible and show them, hey, I think you'll like this, and you'll understand why I like this, and maybe you'll want to get into it too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do like a final call of comments from chat, just to see if anyone else has anything else that they'd like to ask you specifically. I like to open it up. I have like a long, I create a giant list of questions that I could ask in the event that we run out of things to talk about, but you're so easy to talk to, and you know, I think that you have so much knowledge to share that it's never hard to fill time in the best way possible. But I want to make sure that I release you and don't keep you here too long, so that you can live your life and probably eat food and such.
I meant to ask that a while back, like if there were, like, I think it was either when I was talking about like when I was working at the grocery store, or somewhere along there, to where like if we need to move on to the next thing. And because they're like I said, I've got a tendency to throw a lot of stuff out. So
no, I mean that's my ultimate goal, is like I have a million questions that are, you know, that I have in the event that the conversation doesn't just naturally happen, you know, and I've got some things like if things slow down, you know, to ask, but my ultimate goal is just being able to talk about whatever, you know, there's no hard timeline on each topic. So, and I appreciate you being so, you know, willing and open to talk about things. You're really enjoyable to hang out with and talk to. And I'm now retroactively wishing that I was more social in the Mishmash Discord, because then I would have got to hang out with you more. I just get so, I think overwhelmed when there are a lot of people, for sure. I get social anxiety. So
yeah, it's a pretty, like, I don't know, I guess maybe just because I'm a night owl and I just need to have some more night owl things to do. But yeah, the VC is pretty awesome stuff. So, I mean, you know, we're just chilling, doing whatever. And,
yeah, I'll have to pop in. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's like the same kind of thing with like having a stream open or having TV on, like just having people around kind of thing, which is nice. Yeah, I know Katie had mentioned, because I had Katie on last week, and she had mentioned that she'll hang out with like you and Miles in the VC and stuff at night. And
yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. Like, there will be, okay, so I don't know if she told you, but like she's been playing a lot of like Tetrio a lot recently.
Yep, she definitely mentioned that.
Yeah, and like we would play a couple of games with her, and then she's like, okay, I gotta go to bed, guys. And then one of us will end up saying something like, oh wait, you can't leave yet, you're almost here, or you've almost beaten this many people until you get to the next rank. And then she'll end up staying and playing those games. So we're like, we did it, people.
Yeah.
We did it, people. Mission accomplished.
Oh my
god. But yeah, it's just really, really cool. So mostly because it's just, yeah, you all are super cool people, and I'm really fortunate to have you know, been a part of Mishmash, and just, I guess, just hanging out with all of you. You know, it's definitely something that, like, I've been a part of, like, you know, groups like this, communities like this, where it's like, there was a couple of Snapchat groups I was a part of. I've been a part of some groups that we made on Periscope, you know, stuff like that, IG groups. But I think with Mishmash, like, I found that literally everybody in Mishmash is goal driven. That's pretty inspiring stuff.
Yeah,
you know? It's pretty inspiring stuff. Like, you all have things that you want to do, either personally or with your channel, and you just do it. And you've got so many people that you ask for help and get feedback on. And I think that's one of the things I also enjoy too, feedback. I wasn't a huge fan of feedback when I was younger, because I was a bit insecure, probably still am, without even realizing it. But yeah, feedback has definitely been much easier for me to take in. I just felt like I felt like I was being attacked because I thought I was always making a mistake. But It's like, dude, this is constructive criticism. It's here to help you, you know.
It took me a while to become okay and handle it well and understand where it's coming from.
Yeah. And it just gets easier with time. And that expression is cliche, yes, but it does get easier with time, because with time, hopefully, you get wiser. And yeah, it's just feedback is another thing I saw from Mishmash. So yeah, it's just really, really cool. And all the motivation and inspiration and stuff that's from the group, it's really cool stuff. So yeah.
yeah, no, I love it. I think we have a couple questions in. Juice Infinity asked, what's the second guitar scale to learn after pentatonic?
After the pentatonic scale, personally, I would recommend like the actually, this one might require a bit of like finger stretching, but it's a really good one to use. It's the Mixolydian scale. Granted, it's a bit of moving around, but with the pentatonic scale, you've got your good mix of majors and minors in there. But with Mixolydian, it's kind of like mostly major. So you'll have like at least two sets of scale. You'll have a set of scales to where it gives you a little bit more room to be flexible with your solos and stuff. So yeah, definitely that one. It gives you a little bit more room to play around with solos and stuff, jump around between major and minor. And there are so many other scales to consider as well, but I think that's a good one to work on next, because if you're doing pentatonic, then that means that you've become like accustomed to acclimated to the guitar neck, and you can navigate through the guitar neck and find the notes you want. So with Mixolydian, you're doing the same thing, but it's just requiring you to stretch your fingers a little bit more and then curl them back in and then stretch them out. But yeah, I think that will be another good one to look at, just to give yourself a little bit more color in your scales and maybe challenge yourself a little bit.
What was it called again?
Mixolydian.
How do you spell that?
So it's Mixolyddian.
Interesting.
It is I think it is the 5th mode in a collection of 7 modes. And you can pretty much take that scale and you can reshape it depending on what key you're in. So I just played an A Mixolydian. Whoops. This is actually G sharp. Sorry. Okay, so this is a G sharp. Right. Yeah, it is. Okay, just G sharp. So you can move it around to where you can play it for A, and then A sharp. It keeps the same format regardless of what key you change it to. And it's something that you can use for, like, if you're playing a song that's mostly in major, but you want to add something different to it. Also, some of the notes in there you would hear in like classical music too. And I didn't really think about it as much until recently. But you can pretty much do all of that in Mixolydian. Granted, it's also mixed with some other stuff, but that scale also has most of those notes in there. So it's really cool
yeah,
stuff.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Every time I just sit there and I'm like, holy crap, how the heck?
Ayo.
Fieldman asked you if you're watching WandaVision.
Yes, I am watching WandaVision, and I love the show. I don't like how this most recent episode ended, but not because I didn't like it, but because cliffhanger, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, okay, on the plus side though, the last 3 episodes are fully an hour each episode.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So
I heard about that.
That's the good thing that we have to look forward to for the last 3, that they will be an hour. Thank goodness, because I can't I know it's like TV show format, so it's like, installments of the show, but like I need to know what's going on, and I need an explanation.
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to how WandaVision is going to shape the rest of the MCU, because it's going to do so in a really big way.
It has to, because like this is I feel like what's happening in the show is such a major event that it can't not impact other things, because she's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie. It's her and Doctor Strange, so I think it will be it'll have to come into play somehow. And I'm excited to see how that comes together.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, I don't know if I don't want Wanda to be the villain
Yeah.
But I also don't want her to be. I don't want this show to end where Wanda's like, "Hey, everybody, I'm sorry I did this. You know, I was in a bad mood. You know,
Yeah.
I want this to be something where it's like." In Civil War, where Wanda sent the explosion into the hospital unintentionally,
Yeah.
and she realized the dangers of her powers. Well, this time, I kind of want her to still realize the dangers of her powers, but she doesn't apologize for everything that happened.
Yeah.
And feels like this was the right decision to make. You know,
I
because
feel
then
like
that way
it's too neat of a bow to be like, oh, sorry guys, my bad. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
Because I feel like with something of this gravity, and I feel like in her mind, if this is something that she caused, I feel like she thinks it's justified. I mean,
Yeah.
Also, I want to see if there's a process that it'll show, because she's in mourning. You know, like she's deeply sad, and so I think that's also going to be really interesting to see what of that they show. You know, because anytime that we've seen her be herself, it's a lot of anger. You know. Which, you know, makes sense when you're grieving and whatnot. But I think it'll be interesting to see kind of where they go with what's going on with her character. I guess what's going on inside her mind.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait.
Let's see. Here's another question. DJ Decoy asked, has your extensive knowledge deteriorated your ability to turn off your brain and just enjoy some peace, or are you constantly evaluating and critiquing?
Constantly evaluating and critiquing, yes. Because I would end up making a song, and I would put it together, and I'd be like, cool. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this now. Because I don't like it. And the thing about it is, there are things about it that I probably would have liked about the song, but there's like one or two elements where I'm like, nah, this has got to go. Or I'm going to put this on the back burner, and I'll come back to it. I will. I'll come back to it. I will. And I never do. Also, there are moments where I'm like, this is so random, but one time I was getting a Pokeball. And while I was waiting for them to make it, there was some music playing, and like I got kind of impatient waiting for the food, that I just kind of listened to the song, and I figured out what notes were being played without even knowing what the song was, and I just kind of like passed the time that way. Thinking, and then it also got me thinking about my own music and how, oh man, that didn't sound too good. Why did I do that? Even though I hadn't heard the song in ages, it all of a sudden made me think about one of the songs I wrote, and I'm like, ah man, why did that sound like that? Why did I do that? You know, that's not cool. I don't like that. So yeah, I'm constantly critiquing, and I've been told by many people, friends, family, that I do need to pull back on that, because you know, if I'm always critiquing my stuff, but I don't appreciate it for what it is, you know, it's like, it's almost as if I don't appreciate my own work.
Yeah.
You know, my own dedication to the cause, if you will. Like I'm just kind of shortchanging myself.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I know. I think especially as an artist, also because art is subjective as well. So I think that to some degree, like, I think with music, there's also the aspect of like, yes, there's technical elements of it, but at the end of the day, like art for the most part is subjective. So like some people like it, some people won't. But I think it's so hard, especially I feel like as an artist, you have the highest standard, like you set the highest standard for your own work in a way that can be so, it can feel crippling in a way that, or limiting in a way that like, I know I've been stuck in like in modes where no matter what I do, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. You know, I'm like, this isn't it. But I like, you know, and it could be that the thing itself is good, you know, like, and that it's reached a standard that I should be happy with. But I feel like sometimes it's like the difference of like striving for perfection versus striving for excellence, you know, like, and I feel like that can be one of the biggest problems. 'Cause I'm sure no matter what it is, anything can always be a little bit better. Like that's just kind of life. But I think it's about finding that point where you're like, this is good though. Like this is good. But
Yeah.
I think with art, it's hard for sure.
Yeah, true. And then what just makes it worse is that if you are striving for perfection, then the stuff that you come up with, like, you'll tolerate it, but it's not perfect. So you're like, why aren't you perfect?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like, oh, I tolerate the songs that I've written, or I tolerate the paintings that I've put on this canvas. You know, it's like, it should be, I'm proud of this.
Yeah.
I'm proud of this thing. This is something that I made on my own accord with my own skill set and my own approach to the subjective nature of it all. I should be proud of this thing, right? That's what happens when you try to reach something, that you try to reach perfection, but you may not even know what perfection is going to look like.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main issue there, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Fieldman has also asked a question, and I'll probably close questions after this one because I have to go to the bathroom. But Fieldman wants to know, what advice would you give to a new streamer?
I think when I was on Music Exposed, this came up as well. But actually it was a more recent podcast from Max Olive. He goes by Grateful Douche. Yeah, it's awesome. He's a really good dude. Yeah, and I was saying something like, you choose a couple of days to stream, maybe 2 days a week, 3 days if possible, and then you just don't. Yeah, because if you're streaming all the time, you're gonna either burn yourself out, or you'll be fine, but it'll get stale and you won't want to stream anymore, or you won't want to stream as much, and it'll just kind of kill the vibe. So choose a couple of days to stream, and then step away from live streaming for a little bit if you can, and just maybe take some time to yourself, or with family, friends, whatever. Spend some time with them, and then come back to the live streaming, and just make sure you try to have a healthy balance between the two, because it's not always about live streaming. I mean, yes, you'll be away from the community that supports you in everything you do. You'll be away from like games you play on stream, special moments that you could cherish for the rest of your life. Yeah, but you also need to take care of yourself. Definitely need to take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. What? No, yeah. That's not.
You also need to make sure that you're doing okay, because you may not be doing okay, and you'll be doing a live stream, and it won't work in your favor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just choose a couple of days to stream, and then don't. That way, you'll have more control over your mental health, physical health. All those things. That's all crucial stuff. Yeah,
that's some pretty solid advice. The self-care one is especially important. I'm very bad at that.
Oh, yeah,
I do the burnout thing a little bit, because I'm like, I gotta be on all the time, and after taking a break every once in a while, once in a blue moon, I'll take a break and be like, wow, like I ended up taking actually 2 breaks in January. One I had planned, I was like, all right, I need to take a week off, and then another one I ended up going to help take care of my grandpa for a little bit, and so it was a little bit of traveling, which I'm obviously trying to avoid right now, but being as careful as possible. But I was just away from everything for a minute, and my grandpa lives right next to the mountains and everything, and I just like stood outside for a second, and I was like, I can breathe. Like, what is this, like, going from, especially being in not a city for just a second.
That must have been awesome.
Oh, it was
that
just like
so awesome.
I know. There was a moment of just peace where I was like, Okay. I just need to breathe for a minute. And
Yeah.
actually, it worked out because after that, I think that the whole taking a break and giving yourself time thing is important, because after that I came back and I felt like I was even more ready to do things, you know, like it was like that feeling of being recharged and like, all right,
Yeah.
now I can do it. So
Yeah. And then just having that scenery to consider, you know, that just seems to flush all of the gunk out of you.
yeah
Mentally, and then you're like you're ready to get back into your normal routine.
Oh yeah, it was a good little reset almost.
Wow. Although I can imagine why you'd want to stream a lot, because I mean, you've got a pretty awesome community here.
Oh, everyone
but,
is.
I can definitely see why.
Very fortunate. They're pretty cool, very understanding. I had a couple of days this past week I didn't end up streaming because I had some stuff going on with Maui and had to take her into the vet. And it was one of those that I was like, I can't stream today because if anyone's remotely mean to me, I will cry. You know, it's one of those where like, I'm okay, but I know that if someone, you know, if a bad situation happens, I won't be able to like manage stream. So, but everybody is so kind about it. And like, that's, you know, I think I always try to be very aware of the fact that any kind of success that comes from my channel is a large part due to the chat, especially being a mainly just chatting streamer. I don't have a ton to offer besides the conversations that we have. Or if, you know, I play a scary game once in a while, but I'd say it's largely in part to the community that I have here. And so I'm very fortunate. So I try to be around as much, but I allowed myself to have like 2 days off a week. And I tried to implement a schedule so there's a little bit more semblance of, you know, like this is what I do. But yeah, it's taking time off is definitely important.
Yeah, my chat literally had to keep reminding me that I needed to take some time off because I was like, I can't. This doesn't feel right. Yeah. And then they're like, just, you know, just do it.
Oh yeah, that's when you know you've got a good community, when they're like, take care of yourself. That's important too.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Alrighty, well, I think I will bring it to a close. So I just want to take a moment first, like, I guess firstly in closing it, to thank you for being here. I am so thankful for your time. I absolutely adore and appreciate you and adore your stream. I think we have the command in chat. So guys, please go follow Calvin, because at the very least you can lurk in his streams while he does amazing music. You can watch him do all of the looping, which I can't explain how cool it is. You just have to go see it yourself, because it's to watch the process build, to watch him come up with, you know, what he wants to do for each part, and seeing the final product is absolutely amazing. And as you can see, one of the kindest, sweetest, most genuine humans you could ever spend your time with. So please go hang out with him a little bit if you can. Yeah, I can't hype you up enough. I appreciate you. And also I wanted to give you the opportunity, if there's anything that you have coming that you want to promote or talk about, or anything that you'd like to add in.
Okay, hold on, let me
sorry.
I'm like, I got it, and then I don't. All right, so let's pull all that back. Okay, so yeah, when I found out that you were doing a podcast and you had Katie on, I'm like, sign me up. I want to do this, because I mean, I think it's really cool to be able to do these kinds of interview style podcast things, because for one thing, it's a break from a lot of the music stuff, which is nice. But also, it's really cool to kind of get to maybe share what I can about live streaming with people who might not know much about it, or maybe want to get into it. And like, I felt like I had to be the one to find the answers to all my live streaming questions, but I was also looking for those questions too, you know. And I kind of don't want to do that as much anymore. I'm still a self reliant kind of person, but I've opened myself up to a lot of help and feedback recently. And if I can do that for other people, then like, sweet, let's go, let's do this. So and then just chatting with cool people is another really cool thing about and like stuff like this. So I'm just glad I was able to be a part of this, Aya. So I appreciate it. It's been really fun.
Yeah,
really
thank
fun.
you. I mean, like I said, you're very easy to talk to, which makes it so much easier on me, because I feel like it's not like I feel, oh, I have to keep it moving, I have to, you know, do this. It's just getting to hang out, and that's, you know, really what I wanted, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of the I appreciate your ability to go on tangents. And I mean that sincerely. I mean it sincerely. And I love, yes, the pizza blanket. I'm gonna go get my burrito blanket.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back on.
Oh yeah. We need to get that
Nice
the last picture, you know, the last image.
Yes. I'm just gonna be like, I am a giant pepperoni pizza and I am not ashamed. Come at me.
I feel like that's the best way. Like, if you have, if things aren't going how you want them to, just cover yourself up in that and just become the pizza. Because how bad can things be if you're a pizza? So
that's just it.
Just podcast thoughts. Don't be sad. Be a pizza.
Perfect.
Alrighty. I'm going to transition us over, and I will say bye to you. But if you want to say bye to chat and everybody.
Yes. Everybody who's here, thank you so much. Whether you're from Aya's chat or from mine, thank you for allowing me to, like Aya said earlier, go off on all these tangents, because I'm pretty skilled in that department. Thank you for letting me wear this pizza blanket while I'm on stream, and thank you for, I guess, supporting streamers the way that you do and giving them the opportunity to be the kind of streamers that they want to be, because it's just, you know, it's just pretty cool. So thank you. That's all.
Alrighty. Well, I will see you guys in a minute. I'll be back momentarily, but I'm going to say goodbye to our wonderful guest. If you do !guest in chat, there's a link to his channel. Please go and support him. And in the meantime, while I say goodbye to him, look at this beautiful, amazing picture of his face. All right.